Okay. Oops. All right. All right, Bernadette, it's all yours.
Veronica,
Microphone should be on. Check the green button. Yeah, I heard it. We're recording.
That was the thing I just put out.
Me and Jean, eating it.
Good evening, everybody.
It was delicious.
Does anybody can't hear me or can't hear Jeremy or whatever, please just let us know. Tonight is the full board meeting, Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. We are at Maestro's and we had a little bit of a delay because there was an event here in the room. And we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Can I ask everybody to stand, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag
The flag
of the
of the
United
United
States of America,
America,
to the
to the
republic
republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Let us have a moment of silence for the fallen first responders and medical and military service personnel and for those suffering throughout the world. Okay, thank you. Please be seated. Before we start with the gallery session, excuse me, I'm going to ask you to time and have a 30-second. Before we ask with the gallery session, I am just going to read the new conduct statement. The old one?
We haven't voted on it.
Oh, okay, I take that back. So we are going to start with the gallery session speakers.
You want to read the old one?
Do I want to read the old one? Okay, yes, I will.
Summarize it.
Okay. Our conduct statement is for Community Board 11 meetings must be held in a professional and hostile-free environment. The following rules of conduct are applicable to members of the public, Community Board 11, and Community Board 11 staff. Number one, any action or behavior that disrupts or interferes with Community Board 11 business will not be tolerated during any Community Board 11 meeting and may result in the individual or individuals being asked to leave. If the action or behavior continues, this may be considered disturbing the peace and the appropriate authorities may be summoned. If the meeting is held remotely, the person may be muted or expelled for the remainder. Number two, repeated violations by the same person or group of people may result in further action by Community Board. All public speakers must address the full board or the committee with their concerns. And the last is electioneering for a position other than an officer of Community Board 11 is prohibited. Moving on, we have our gallery session. And our first speaker is Diana Finch, Community Board 11, constituent about Zimmerman Playground and reading the conduct statement.
So before we start on that, oral, are you prepared to time people? I know you're not here physically. We do have somebody that could time physically, pull up the sign. It's up to you.
No, I can
You wanna do
time. I can go ahead and time, but hopefully they'll be able to hear me say when the time is up.
Yeah, you're loud and clear.
Excellent.
So you
Okay,
don't-
no worries. I'll be able to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to speak loud.
Okay.
That microphone's not working?
Oh,
No, how do you
is
turn it
on?
on?
Is it green?
It was on.
Is
it
there
green?
a green, is there a button
On
somewhere?
the top by the 8.
You could just leave it. It might have died. Just gotta hold it on. You good?
No.
Well, no,
Hello?
because it's here. I gotta do this. I'm sorry, it's too many things at once.
Okay.
Good?
Now?
2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, for reading the Code of Conduct. I think it gives the board of control, not of the content of the meeting, but the conduct of the meeting. So speaking on behalf of Bronx Park East Community Association, BPECA, you may have seen the letter that Jeremy emailed the board today. BPECA is so grateful to Deb Kowalnik and the Parks Committee for making it possible for us to join as a group for the Parks Department presentation of the new design for Zimmerman Playground. We were thrilled with the design. It included all the asks from the community input meeting. The board can celebrate this, bringing much needed positive energy because it comes with a challenge. But the groundwork needed to meet this challenge has been laid first and foremost by Parks Chair Janice Walcott, who's fought so long and hard for Zimmerman. Funding for a badly needed renovation of the closed rest station house and its bathrooms, roughly equal at several $1 million to the total cost of redesigning the playground, was not included. Councilmember Feliz had budgeted for new bathrooms, but at the very last minute, late last year, Zimmerman was redistricted. Parks immediately went to Zimmerman's new council member, Kevin Riley, but his budget was already set. However, all the elected officials for the Zimmerman area either attended the parks presentation or were notified and understand the urgency of the bathrooms funding. Feliz and Velasquez, whose
30
constituents used
seconds.
Zimmerman, and Joe McManus, Congressman Richie Torres' constituent rep, were on WebEx. With BPECA in person were Riley's staffer, Assemblymember Zaccaro's rep, members of Pastor Gooding's Stand Up to Violence, and a leader from Parkside's We Rise as One. With this network knowing how urgent the bathrooms
10
funding is,
seconds.
we hope the board can move forward with Parks Chair Janice Walcott's vision for her community to approve the Zimmerman design contingent on the bathrooms being funded in the next cycle. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
I'm gonna move that back for a minute. Because like Bob pointed out, if you go to the speaker.
Okay. Okay, our next speaker is Effie Arizona from the New York City Department of Environmental Protection.
Thank you so much.
Amnesty program. Is she here today or is she online?
Yes, can you hear me? You
can
can
hear
hear
me.
me, right? Thank you. Thanks so much. Good evening,
seconds.
everyone. I'm Effie Artesani from DEP, Department of Environmental Protection. And I'm sure the board has shared this with you, but it is time sensitive, so that's why I'm on tonight. DEP has an amnesty program for water bills, outstanding water bill accounts. This amnesty program went into effect January 30th and is available only until April 30th. We know that many New York City residents suffered during the pandemic and many have fallen behind on their water bills. DEP is offering customers in all tax brackets. That means whether you own a commercial property, a building, a 1, 2, 3 family house, this is for everybody. And you have any amount of water bill debt, you are eligible. You should call the agency or you can even go on our website. I'm also going to put the information on the chat. You can call 718-595-7000 and that's directly to DEP and get some information on, on your personal account. The amnesty program now offers up to 100% forgiveness of accrued interest for customers that have outstanding debt and enter into a payment agreement. In addition to
30
this,
seconds.
DEP program, the state offers their low-income water assistance program, which offers up to $5,000 to property owners that have a delinquent water bill account. So you can contact the state for that one. That's a separate program, and that's been going on for about a year now. You can reach out to DP for both, 718-595-7000.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank That's okay.
Can we ask?
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So Tiz first or Berna? She has a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Hi, Effie. I'm wondering about the sinkhole on Ludovic Avenue alongside MS 144. It was reported back in July and nothing has been done with it yet. Do we have an update?
Did you email me on that one?
Yes, Jeremy did.
Where
And you
is
did send
it?
somebody to look at it.
And what was, I can't hear what Jeremy is saying, but what was the update on that one?
The last update we had is that you sent somebody out to look at it and it would be taken care of, but that was back in July that I initially made the report.
I'm looking up on it right now as we're speaking. So next time, if you can give me a heads up about it, and I'll definitely, I know on Lodovic and Mace, we were just there the other day. We had a water main break that we were doing repairs. It was Lodovic and what?
Between Mace and Allerton, right alongside MS 144.
So is it still there today since we were there?
Yes, it is, and it's getting bigger.
Okay. Did DOT inspect it?
Yes, they did.
Sorry,
I'll look into
Debbie
it. I'm not
Kowalik
aware of
also
it.
filed a report about that sinkhole, so there were 2 reports filed against it. DOT did inspect it and DEP inspected it. Yeah.
No problem. I'll look into it and get back to the office tomorrow.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Our next gallery session speaker is Robert Press on the future development in Community Board 11.
Yes, thank you.
2 minutes with a 30-second warning.
I was going to speak on the development because I brought along a Penn Station Access Community Board 11, February 2020. But I received a letter from the chair of the board today stating that I am no longer on the Housing Committee. I was placed on the Housing Committee 3 days ago. Monday, I was on the Housing Committee, and on Thursday of the same week, I am off. Now, I have sent a letter to the Borough President's office, and I would like to read it to the board because I believe all the board members need to hear it. I have forwarded you this email from the chair of Community Board 11 and believe that the Bronx Borough President's office needs to take action about it. There is a Facebook page, Friends of Community Board 11, run by a private person, Stephanie Raptis, which allows politics and other unrelated material to Community Board 11 on it. I created a page just by adding the word new in front of Friends of Community Board 11. There was a post from a person on my page of a Bronx Times article of a candidate running for city council other than the CB11 chair. There was also a couple of posts by a CB11 resident critical of CB11 I did not censor or remove. By the way, the person who is in charge of the Friends of CB11, Ms. Raptis, is a non-board member who is also one of the 7 administrators of the Citizens of Community Board 11, run by the Social Media Committee of CB11. For the chair of CB11, who is running for a city council seat, to think she can dictate terms of how any private Facebook page is run, think that she can consider a term for placing me as a committee member
30
on a
seconds.
CB11 committee, and then remove me from said committee I was appointed to is an abuse of power, and I am requesting that the Bronx Borough President's office look into this abuse of power, possibly remove Ms. Bernadette Ferrara as chair of Community Board 11 from Community Board 11 also. This matter should be directed also to the Conflict of Interest Board to see what other course of action might be taken. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay. So we got people who filled out the slip. So one thing that was brought to our attention recently is, so during the height of COVID, or throughout most of COVID, we met remotely, fully, right? And we had a requirement, it's been put into our bylaws, that 36 hours in advance, people have to register gallery session speakers for remote meetings. So once we started returning to in-person meetings, you know, it's the way we used to do these meetings, for those who aren't aware, when we met in person at Einstein College of Medicine prior to COVID, is that the person filled out a gallery session slip, And then once the meeting started, no more time to fill out a slip and sign off and speak in the gallery. So right now, a member of the public pointed out the inconsistency, which I've had rolling around far in the back of my brain for what I can think about it at the time. But it is a problem. I do think there is an inconsistency that we should try to work out at some point. The more advanced, notice registration we can get, because I shouldn't be updating the agenda the day of, day before. Ideally, right? And this is what I was going to talk about under my report. I can talk more about it later, but I just want to put that out there. So we do have gallery session slips. I'll give them to you right now, Karen.
Jeremy, so can I ask a question? If they do not provide it in the time that they should, then they cannot go on the agenda. I don't understand.
Well, that's arguably up to interpretation. Is that 36 hours? Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with staying for online registrations. We can still do that. I just want to make sure the board is okay with that and in agreement. Okay?
Yeah.
So, because the bylaws say for a remote meeting, it doesn't say if it's a hybrid remote, it doesn't say if, you know what I mean? Because right now it's in person and remote. So anybody that's going to be remote is the 36-hour requirement, right?
So we need to update the bylaws, is what you're saying?
I don't know, unless David or Bernadette feel otherwise. I think David's in the meeting. I think I brought the issue to their attention.
Can we update
Yes,
the bylaws to current times? Current.
yes, all we need is for a board member to make the recommendation and to the chair, and the chair can announce it at the meeting, at a full board meeting, and then we can consider it. If you're prepared to do that now, and Bernadette can announce it at tonight's meeting, then we can meet on it and we can vote on it next month.
Okay, so I'm sorry, you need me to do an email first?
No, we're here. So if you can
okay.
just, put out the proposed change, and Bernadette can announce it today, then we can meet about it in the next month, and then we can vote on it next month as a full board.
Okay, awesome. So I'm putting it out there that if to register for online, hybrid, or in-person meetings, you need to do it 36 hours in advance. Bernadette, I'm pitching that to you and David.
Okay, so should we make this motion now as we're speaking about it, or should we?
No, it doesn't have to be a motion, Bernadette. It's just to make a bylaw change, a member of the board needs to make the proposed change to you as the chair. You announce it at the full board meeting, and which is what you're doing. So now the bylaws committee can meet about this, which is what we'll do.
Okay, so it's all done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, well, yeah, go ahead, Debbie. Debbie? Just leave it on. Leave it on.
I feel by the time we go through all the hoops of doing motions and meetings and this, that, the other, the hybrid will be no more, that it will be just back to be fully in person. So I think it's a moot point to go all through the stuff when in like a month or two, it's not going to be in effect.
We have to think about the future, right? So like, it doesn't matter, like if we put it in the bylaws, we're making the decision that no matter what it is, whatever type of meeting it is, we will hold you to the 36 hours. This way we avoid issues or misunderstandings.
We did, before the pandemic, we didn't have any remote option. It was always everything in person. So to change bylaws to tailor to the remote option part, when in a couple of months, the remote option is going to be null, then I think it's
So
waste.
let me clarify. What she's proposing is a 36-hour time frame in which people have to register in general, regardless of if it's an in-person meeting, right? So we can publish the agenda properly well in advance. Because so even though I've sent out I published the agenda, even though I published the agenda Monday, I sent it out I edited it yesterday, sent it out yesterday, edited it again today. You know, the idea is that I don't have to do that going forward. Well, there's always going to be me trying, like, the Borough President's Office pointed out an error. The minutes for February are not properly linked on the agenda, but they are on our website. They were published on the minutes page. But what she's proposing is regardless of the type of meeting that we try to get as much of this put out, finalized 30, before the meeting.
The other stuff, yes, finalize 36 hours before the meeting, but anybody of gallery speaking, if somebody all of a sudden had an issue yesterday and they wanted to talk about it today, they should be able to talk about it if they were here. Just like before COVID, if you wanted to speak about something, you walked up to the table and you signed a gallery slip.
Yeah, no, I get it. So it's up to the board, right? I mean, I understand that hybrid may go, but first of all, I doubt that. I think it's here to stay. I think it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant whether it's hybrid, online, or in person. You have
in person pre-COVID.
Yeah, but you have to do 36 hours. I don't
No,
never before.
Pre-COVID, you just walked up to the table and you saw either Harriet or Chris and you filled out a gallery slip. And if person A, B, and C were talking about the same subject, they would group them together. If person D was talking about something else, then, then that was, they had their time. But everybody had, if you signed the gallery slip when you came in person, even if something happened Thursday morning and you wanted to talk about it at the full board meeting, you were entitled to by coming in and talking and filling out the gallery slip with either Chris or Harry.
It's not efficient for the administrative staff. So this is
We did it for years and it was never an issue.
Okay, but we have a law now that says we have to do this in an appropriate time.
There's no law. There's no law.
Yes, we have to. Jeremy, am I incorrect, or do we not have to?
Well, how about this?
You're proposing to make it some sort of law, but it wasn't
over each other. We got to
So how about this? To shorten the meeting, David's agreeing to a bylaws committee meeting. There's a proposal already on the floor. Anybody can make a proposal for the bylaws. Let's hash it out there. Is that okay, David? Bernadette?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
I agree.
Okay, good, David? Everybody? All right. So, Bernadette, the gallery session slips.
Okay, next gallery person is Emmanuel Martinez from the New York Public Library.
Yeah. Okay, 2 minutes, warning, 30-second warning.
Starts now?
Tell mine.
Yes, go ahead, yes.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I did mention last month that we're finally going to be doing our launch of the NYPL studio. So we got a multimedia studio that's launching. We're going to do a soft launch on April 7th at 4 p.m. So I would definitely like to invite anyone here that would like to see the space. Like I said, we're going to be doing small tours. So we can see, we're going to be talking about future programs that are going to coincide with the space. So that's Friday, April 7th at 4 p.m. Anyone from here is invited. We're also going to be, so next month is National Poetry Month. So we're going to be hosting an adult poetry workshop. It's actually a series of 4 workshops, and that's going to take place on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. And this is with a poet and a writer that's going to come in and be teaching these courses. It's called Between the Lines. And then at Allerton, also for early literacy, so this is for the toddlers, we're going to have an 8-week series of music. So it's a musical program. It's bilingual in Spanish and English. And this is for early literacy. So 5 and under, this is on Saturdays at 11 a.m. And then I'm also going to be speaking on behalf of my colleagues, Dawn at Morris Park, who is hosting, she's going to be hosting, it's called Pretty Plastics with local artist Ruth Marshall. and it's on April 1st.
30 seconds.
So it's Morris Park, Pretty Plastics, April 1st with Ruth Marshall. And then at Pelham Parkway, Van Nest, this Saturday, so March 25th at 2 p.m., there's going to be a special documentary. It's called Fight the Power, How Hip Hop Changed the World. And this is in celebration of the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And that's it. For the most part, also, New York Public Libraries are facing a budget cut. We're asking for support for the letter writing. So, that'll be great if, anyone here can help to support us and with that letter writing campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Question.
Do you mind if I ask a question? Just what percentage are they looking at cutting you?
I believe, so this is between the three library systems. I believe it's 36.2 million. For the library, exactly, I don't have the exact figures like off the top of my head right now.
So are you asking for a letter of support from the community board? So are you
No,
asking?
just in general, we're going to be starting our letter writing campaign. So like the community
Yes.
asking for support. So if we could just help, with that portion, that'll be great. That'll be awesome. This budget cuts are definitely going to impact, libraries.
Isn't this every year?
Yes, it's
Okay.
every year.
It's terrible.
This time around, no, it's a little bit more serious than any of the other ones. So yes. But
Any other questions? What is it? What time, April 1st? What time, April 1st?
good question. So Dawn is online. She's virtually. Dawn, if she can answer that question, she didn't provide me with the exact time. I don't know.
So, Dawn, are you online? Dawn Holloway?
2 to 4 p.m. And it's going to
Okay,
be
there we
8
go.
weeks. And the first session is April 1st.
Here.
Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome.
So,
That one's at the Pelham Parkway Van Ness Library at 2 p.m. And that's a documentary. We'll be working on something too. I'm working right now with the Hip Hop Education Center. We're gonna do programs and coincide with the studio space, but that's coming at a later time. We're looking for Allison, we're looking to do it for Bronx Week. But
The hip hop anniversary. is at-
Microphone, Jazz, please.
I'm sorry,
Speaking of the mic.
is my mic on? Yeah. The history of hip hop is
That-
at which library
the Pelham Parkway Van Ness Library.
and what date?
That one is on Saturday, March 25th.
It's this Saturday.
Yes. So this Saturday at 2 p.m., Pelham Parkway, Van Ness Library, 2147 Barnes Avenue. And the documentary is called Fight the Power, How Hip Hop Changed the World.
I have a,
Go ahead.
so all of your calendars are online for all three libraries, am I correct?
Yes, the programs are stated online. Yes.
Okay, so for everybody also, it's always good, and I know because there's so much going on in all of the libraries, and you need to print them out and mark the stuff, put it on your refrigerator, whatever, so that you know what's going on, so you can put it on your calendar. So just check all three libraries, the Morris Park, Allerton, and the Pelham Parkway, Van Ness.
Yes. You can also sign up. There's a newsletter you can also sign up for, and you can pick the three local libraries that are closest to you, and they'll provide you with updates on what's going on within that library. And then a majority of the libraries also have like Facebook and Instagram that you can like add them
Fantastic.
as well. Yeah. Any other questions? I believe I saw your hand up.
So, Mike,
Just where will we get information on where to the letter writing campaign? Like, is that online?
Yeah, so one of them is investinlibraries.org. That one has where you can post like little sticky notes on what libraries mean to you. I can definitely send out the information in regards to like the letter writing, which is going to be launching soon, definitely. Okay. Any other questions?
no, thank you, Manny.
All right, thank you.
Manny.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Manny. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Hello, I have a question. I had my hand up. I don't know if anyone's looking at the virtual screen. But Manny, I just wanted to suggest that perhaps when we're having our public hearing in September, the Community Development and Budgetary Priorities Committee, maybe you can join us and put in an ask so that we can ask for next year's budget to support the library in our district.
All right, I see the name is Serena. Sorry, can you identify? I see on the screen.
It's Serena Muniz.
All right, thank you so much. I'll definitely take that in consideration.
And you don't need to wait until we have our public hearing. You can put in that request now. So I just wanted you to know that.
All right, can you send me an email just so I could connect with you if you don't mind?
I'll put you in touch.
Absolutely.
I'll put you in touch.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Appreciate that. Thank you,
Serena.
Anytime.
Anyone else? Yeah, this is another reason why maybe the 36-hour idea is because I'm juggling a lot. I understand that the laptop may not always be here, but people obviously text me, call me, so whatever. So anyway, Bernadette?
Okay. Okay, our next gallery person is Ronald Calantro. Okay. Okay.
2 minutes, 30-second warning.
Okay, hello. This is from the Bronx Times, December 22nd, November 2022. When it comes to sensitive issues, I feel like someone way above us, maybe the mayor's level, has already made a decision. The process that follows, these decisions won't change anything. I don't feel like the board recommendations are actually considered by the city, but rather a box checked off that the community was engaged. That's from the former president of this group. I guess nobody read that. This person must be able to see into the future, as the Bronx Borough President Gibson has approved the Boston Road upzoning after this board voted it down. Is this what we can expect for 1900 Seminole? That no matter what we say or do, doesn't matter. I also think that the board will not discuss many things with Borough President Gibson because they're running for office. Do they want to upset the borough president? No, they want her endorsement. They're not thinking of our future. They're thinking of their futures as they run for office and use this board as a stepping stone. So I think that candidates shouldn't be allowed on any boards, which is the policy at Jacoby's Cab and
30
also
seconds.
their organization. Also, I have an issue with the youth awards given out to students from CB11. Amazing, all the winners are from Morris Park, and none of the other neighborhoods were considered. I think it's very one-sided and unfair.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move on to the chair's report. Okay, I just want to say good evening, as always. I thank the staff, board members, and the public for attending, and maestros for always welcoming our meetings. This month of March, we recognize that, first of all, it is Women's History Month. March 7th was Purim. March 8th was a celebration of Holi, which is a festival of colors.
I think.
March 12th was the Throgs Neck St. Patrick's Day Parade, with the official day of St. Patrick's being March 17th. And March 19th was St. Joseph's Day. So here is the March Community Agreement. Help create a safe and inclusive space for everybody. Respect others by recognizing how often, much, and loud you're speaking, and whether or not you're dominating a conversation. Leave space for everyone to voice their opinions and feelings. As a reminder, chairs and co-chairs, please introduce yourselves and committee members for new attendees so they can differentiate between the public and committee members with a brief explanation as to why a person may be muted or expelled for the remainder of the meeting and/or the chat disabled. Start to make it a habit to attend meetings with videos turned on. Please continue to submit committee follow-up questions discussed in committee to Jeremy to keep track of what has or has not been resolved. In February, land use, motions were made and a vote taken on 2560 Boston Road development in Allerton. A letter from Community Board 11 was sent on March 6, 2023 to City Council, City Planning, and the BP's office to disapprove the development, stating that number one, the proposed income levels be changed to include a higher percentage of lower income residents, and number two, an on-premise parking should be made available to all residents, not just those with higher incomes. In the remote March joint housing and land use meeting on March 20th, there was much discussion and clarification on the process of HPD with city developments. Excellent questions, and I urge everyone who was not present to watch the videos that we have on the CB11 YouTube. In the Bylaws Committee, much was discussed on past proposals and new ones introduced. Please see the agenda for details and watch the video. On March 8th, Parks and Recreations Committee had Parks Department presentation of the design for the reconstruction of Zimmerman Playground and basketball courts. The presentation coincided with BPECA's March meeting, making it a joint meeting. Please watch the video on Community Board 11 YouTube if possible. This month, we saw 3 Community Board 11 board members hand in their resignations. Christina Contreras, Christian Amato, and Yahe Obi. We thank them all for their time with Community Board 11 and wish them well as they move on to their next endeavors. Please, to all past board members, stay active and supportive in whatever way possible as we continue to persevere and improve all of our Community Board 11 communities. And lastly, for the public's awareness, a new Facebook page titled New Friends of Community Board 11 is not an official Community Board 11 page, nor is it admin by any current Community Board 11 board member. That's just for the public's information. Thank you very much. Now we move on to the treasurer's report.
So hold on. I forgot one person did register, Greg Kisloff for the gallery. So if we could open up to Mr. Kisloff, oral, are you ready? Could you time that?
2 minutes,
No?
2 minutes, 30-second warning.
Thank you very much.
Forgot
I'd
to-
like to thank the board for facilitating the joint committee meeting, which allowed the MTA, New York City Transit, to present their elevated structure project presentation. I had a couple of items that I wanted to inquire about. One is if the MTA Transit Authority could provide a list of locations which included intersections for each work site. The second is that the only work site that included what they call pigeon deterrent was the Bronxdale trestle location. There are at least 3 others that need similar treatment. And I think in terms of reconstruction of abutment walls, if we could have more detail as to which locations will receive more complete reconstruction as opposed to just repainting or mending of abutment surfaces, that would be much appreciated.
Okay.
I have one second
Thank-
item relative to DEP, if I could, very quickly.
Go
So
ahead,
you
still have
can,
time.
you still got
Thank
time.
you. On Mulliner Avenue, approaching the Brady Avenue intersection, there is virtually no curb whatsoever. The road was repaved to eliminate any curb, and this will cause flooding conditions along the sidewalk
30
and
seconds.
put homeowners at risk of flooding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, thank you. Unless there's questions, Veronica, treasurer's report?
The treasurer's report has been published on the CB11 website, so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
Okay, the next is the secretary's report.
So So there's also somebody that keeps raising their hand, who's a member of the public. There's a member of the public raising their hand online. I mean, there's a couple people, but we generally don't call on them unless they register to speak.
Just want to piggyback on what Greg was saying.
So Debbie has a comment regarding the last gallery session speaker.
Hello? Is this one on? Yeah, I just want to piggyback on the end of what Greg was saying about Mulligan Avenue. That's been an issue ongoing for about 20 years. So I don't know if it's DEP is an issue that does need to be recognized. There's no curb on the left side. It's a one-way street. So it's on the left side of the street. There is no curb basically protecting the houses. And when they redid the paving of the street because of Con Ed, the street and the grass are basically now equal, and any heavy rain is going to cause flooding into a good length of the street into people's houses and yards. So I don't know if it's for Effie to look into fix or DOT, but it does highly need to be addressed.
I don't think Effie's here anymore, but.
No, Effie's
Still there.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Jeremy, quick question. I think,
Yeah.
do the people on the, understand that if you don't register, they can't really ask questions? Because Ms. Wilkins has her hand up, but I don't know if we can allow her to ask a question. What's your take on that?
The public can't ask questions.
I mean, so typically I allow one exception a meeting. So I don't know.
She said that she registered. She had it in her text that she did register, but I don't know. Did you get that information? Yes or no?
Hold on, I'll check right now. Yes, she did. So that is my mistake.
Okay, okay, Ms. Wilkins, you can talk. You have to unmute yourself and then go ahead and talk, please. You have 2 seconds, 30-second warning.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening. My name is Odette Wilkins, and I'm President and General Counsel of Wired Broadband, a nonprofit focusing on safe technology for the public. I've also been a technology attorney for over 20 years, so I know the benefits of technology and the risks. And there are many risks associated with wireless radiation and with Link 5G in particular. Now, there are a number of community boards who are getting the Link 5G cell towers, and we have an anomalous situation in New York City where we're going to be getting thousands of these cell towers, 2,000 initially, and then 4,000 and possibly as much as 7,500 on our streets. And these are 32-foot towers. There's 3-story towers that can be as close to your windows as 10.6 feet. And there have been many community boards who don't want this, and they're saying that they don't need it either. There have been 9 community boards that have now voted for disapproval and moratoria. And there's a data set that the Office of Technology has posted. I do not see any cell towers for you, but that doesn't mean that they haven't already been installed or that they're not going to be planning additional ones. The common question that I hear at community boards is 5G safe? And the answer that OTI gives is that the carriers meet the FCC emission limits, but those emission limits are really a safe harbor that immunizes telecom carriers from any liability for personal injury. And in fact, the DC Circuit Court of Appeals in 2021 ruled against the FCC's outdated 1996 limits because it refused to review 11,000 pages of scientific studies showing harm.
30 seconds.
Thank you. Showing harm below those limits. And there have been many studies that show harm below those limits, including one that was commissioned by a major telecom carrier. I would be more than happy to present with other experts on this. I've been doing that. We've been doing that through with a number of community boards, and we would love to do it with yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, Jeremy, we can continue, I guess.
of Thursday, February 23rd were mapped out to everyone. I hope everyone had a chance to look them over. So I would like to make a motion to accept the full board minutes of February 2023, which was February 23rd, 2023, sorry. That was a mouthful. Okay, second by Bernadette. Do we have any discussions? Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Good. Next is the district manager's report.
Okay. All right, sorry. It's a little loud.
That's not.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my mistake. So,
Jeremy,
my turn?
Jeremy,
Who's up?
should I go get the microphone? Should I get the microphone?
Yeah, if you want, it's up to you, yeah. So it's mine, I'm good. Hello? Everybody hear me? All right, so I got a mask on. Sorry if you can't hear me well. I'm not sick, just somebody asked me to wear one, that's all. All right, so I'm gonna try to keep it short. March 19, 2003, that is not a typo. That's the start of Iraqi liberation, OIL. Operation Iraqi Liberation. I'm sorry, it's really Operation Iraqi Freedom. But yeah, for me, that's an important day, right? This is a 20-year anniversary, just kind of like for all of us, I think most of us, 9/11 was an important time in our lives. March 19, 2003, some say March 20th. They started bombing Baghdad on March 19, 2003. As those of you, probably most of you know by now, I was sent overseas. I was Army National Guard, but I was deployed for 14 months to Iraq, where I definitely had my fair share of close calls. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize, like when I was there, 40% of units were Guard and Reserve. You know, they call it the backdoor draft, right? That was one of our longer wars. Afghanistan was arguably the longest war. But the other thing, so 40% of them were there, Guard Reserve. Most people, my age, my generation, even younger, they served in Iraq. They did not serve in Afghanistan. More soldiers were in Iraq. I mean, again, things that might have changed a little bit, but for the most part, most of the deaths, most of the injuries were in Iraq. So that's just all about that. Open meetings law and agendas. A member of the public pointed out to us last Thursday. I started drafting an email. I drafted an email on Friday. I looked at it again on Monday. It just got overwhelmed. I was not feeling well Monday or Tuesday. I wanted to take the day off, but it doesn't seem like I can half the time. So what I want to say about, so a member of the public pointed out, it's not 36 hours in advance we need to publish our agendas. It's 72, well, I guess it's meeting location, but I attach it to the agenda. It's 72 hours. Those of you around long enough during COVID, when it was easier, when I wasn't juggling multiple things like I am in person with the mixer and online. That's why I didn't see Serena's hand up, but I see it's up now. I don't know if Serena, you wanted to comment. Feel free to jump in.
Jeremy, wait a second though. Someone is a Susan Peters registered to talk today?
That's exactly what I wanted to say. That's exactly what I wanted to say, Jeremy. I just want to apologize for interrupting you. First of all, I didn't mean to interrupt you because what you have to say is extremely important. But I just wanted to let you know that Joanne cannot hear. And then there are people in the gallery virtual that have had their hands up and haven't been able to speak.
Okay, well,
I don't know if they're registered. You have to find out they're registered to talk.
Okay, well, can you hear me, Oral and Serena?
I can hear you, but I'm just wondering, I mean, Serena's saying something, but I want to just double check to make sure that, because I know that the policy is that you can talk in a gallery session once you're registered. So I'm wondering, is Susan Peters registered to talk in a gallery session? She has her hand up for a long time.
I will double check, but I do not think so. I do not think she registered.
Okay, Serena, so I'm not sure what we're gonna do here, okay?
Okay, it's just that in the comments, there was just a suggestion to contact the borough president.
Wait, no, hold
about
on.
it.
She did, hold on. She registered today. So the other people registered yesterday, you know, a little bit late. So it's up to the board what you want to do.
What time did she register?
From what I can tell, 12:15 p.m. today.
Oh, well, that's pretty, I mean, it's not like right away. She had some time, so I would say give her an opportunity to talk.
I agree.
I agree.
So,
I'd like Jeremy to finish, I'd like Jeremy to finish his report, and then we can allow the other person to speak. Let's move on.
Okay, open meetings law. So 72 hours in advance. Some of you have been around long enough, knew that I would tell you, I need that in a week in advance. Right? So I don't need it. Look, lately we've been publishing it a day before. We can't keep doing that. Right? You know, whether it's me dropping the ball or somebody else. Going forward, 72 hours in advance, you need to get us to us before that because, you know, if Chris is out, then everything falls on me. It's sometimes there's technical issues. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, sometimes team site goes down. They tell us they're doing maintenance, whatever. It's just, remember, with technology, you forget to cross one little T, one little dot, one little I, it throws everything off. So I need it like more like 72 hours is 3 days. I need more like 4 or 5 days in advance. I know sometimes people excel in that. So it's a state law. Somebody asked me, what's the requirement? It's a state law. It's the open meetings law. Any questions about that? We can talk after the meeting. But that's I think enough for me now. Is that okay? All right, we can move on back to the gallery.
Yeah, we can move back to the gallery, but I think that Naomi raised a good point about having someone, especially if you're going to go online, to register a little bit more in advance, because it gives Jeremy an opportunity to put this schedule together and who needs to talk. I think 12 o'clock today is like borderline. I'm not sure if you should get it done by at least 9 o'clock in the morning, because 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, Jeremy's probably still getting things together to get ready to talk. But let her talk right now. But maybe we need to set up something like that.
Arva, I'm thinking, can I just say one thing? And I just want to piggyback off of what Jeremy is saying in terms of regulations and the way we operate. The goal is, I think, to have the board operate more efficiently, so that things like this don't happen, so that we do not forget people that want to speak, or we don't include people that want to speak. So I think we just have to make an effort to be more efficient in the way we run our board.
Understood. Okay. Who is it now?
Okay, okay, Laurel and Naomi.
Suzanne Peters?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. 2 minutes, 30-second warning.
Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me to speak. I want to say a little bit more about the jumbo 5G towers, because I've been going to community boards because my community board is affected. And one of the things that's very obvious by going to the boards, when the city and the telecoms are giving presentations, is that they are not giving the community information. They really don't. They don't give any descriptions of what is the power that's going to be coming out of these 32-foot jumbo towers that are going to be, they're going to be near people where people live. But they don't, okay. It's up to us, the citizens of this city, to find out what's going on, because our city government is not going to protect, especially our health. There are thousands and thousands of pages of science papers that show that this radiation, 5G, is going to hurt us. And they're not talking about that, the city. They're just saying, oh, it's going to be convenient and it'll, do this and it'll do that and it'll be all great. But they don't give us any information. So I just want to say, you need to educate. You need
30 seconds.
Great, thank you. You need people in your community that will delve into this and educate the community, because the city will not. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I saw Cynthia's hand up, and now I see Serena's. I'm not sure who wants to go first. Cynthia's hand is down. Serena, you have your hand up still?
Yes, absolutely. I just wanted to echo Ms. or Mrs. Peters' sentiment on March 11th, when I did receive and review the email that I received from CB11 about these towers. I did suggest that perhaps we ask for a maybe like some sort of study to be done, as well as also notifying the community at large, because it was just my, I guess, innate response to ask for this. And so I agree, because we may not all agree, but at the very least, we should offer some information. So I just wanted to say that.
So Cynthia Rodriguez.
Hi, two things. One with regards to the 5G. If it's possible for the two people who just commented on it, if they can just email the health committee, the health and I'm sorry, I have like a massive migraine. If they can email the health committee, maybe they can present to us and it can be a topic of discussion for one of the health committee meetings. And then the other thing, as far as like the registering to speak, I think it's important for us that if we're going to, stick to the rules, that it be from, today forward, let's say, because I know in the past, all our meetings have been a little more flexible in terms of allowing people to speak who've registered or not registered. And I think it might be a little unfair to say that today we're going to begin enforcing the 36-hour registration rule. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I agree with you. I didn't say today we will start it. I'm saying that we should really think about it at this point on, because we're seeing how inconvenient it can get if it's not, if Jeremy doesn't have the information at least by this morning.
Yeah, I mean, again, so Harriet also helps me. Like, again, I wasn't feeling well Monday. Harriet and Chris were both out Monday, and then Harriet was also out on Tuesday. So it was just kind of bad timing, all right? So next month should hopefully be much smoother.
No, I agree, Jeremy, but I'm just saying that if you get an email like that someone wants to talk at 2 o'clock, I don't think it's fair for you to try to get that unless you're fine with it, and then that's okay with me too.
And then Jeremy, I just want to chime in really quickly. I'm sorry, because I can't hear what you're hearing, so please bear with me. So to Cindy's point, yes, to Oral's point, I agree. But then Debbie did make mention of the fact that pre-COVID, there were certain allowances that we had made for people that were in person. So we have to take that into consideration as well. We understand that this is post-COVID and things are different. But at the same time, I think that if we did something before to to completely like just shut it down, I don't agree with that. I'm all about, and I think the board knows, I'm all about everybody saying what they have to say, because I'm with you here right now. I'm going to be with you until 9:30, until we shut it all down. I get that these meetings are long, but I also think that people's input is important. And I'm not saying that the board doesn't think that. I'm just saying what I'm saying.
No, I understand you, Serena. What I'm just
Okay,
saying is that
okay.
no,
I'm
let me
gonna have
finish. Let
to
me finish real quick. It's not going to be long. I'm just
make it
saying
real
that
quick.
it's a different environment with someone on the line, on the board, on a computer screen. You have to scroll through to see the hands that are up, versus someone walking up to a podium and signing. So all I'm saying is that when someone is online and wants to talk online, that's easier if we can get that information prior to the meeting, versus someone who is in person. You can see them coming up you can see them coming up, signing the sheet. And then that sheet gets given to Jeremy, and he can call their names out. It's a lot different looking at someone and scrolling through all of the names on the screen. That's all I'm saying.
I think we can agree that there just needs to be a little bit more discussion, and this will be continued, but right now we need to move the meeting on.
All right, Jeanette Wilson had her hand up first. Jeanette? And then Malcolm Gray.
I just wanted to say that I do agree that it is important in terms of the agenda being presented. I agree with the amount of time where people should register. I also believe it's important for everyone to have a voice. So if someone doesn't register on time but attends the meeting in person, they have the opportunity to come up and sign a slip so that they are able to speak. Could it be also possible that someone who is remote, who did not have the opportunity to register on time, could then in the chat register maybe 15 minutes before the meeting or in the first 10 minutes of the meeting, so they also could have the same opportunity of someone who came in person? This way, you have adequate time to present the agenda, and everyone can review it and know what's going to be presented at the meeting. But any member of the community who wants an opportunity to speak, whether they're in person or remote, would then have that opportunity as well.
Very good point.
Okay.
Very good point. Very good point.
Okay, so in the interest of time, Malcolm, is it regarding this issue? Or if it is, okay, good. All right. Because we're gonna have a bylaws, most likely a bylaws committee meeting about this. I mean, there was a bylaw proposal. Now,
Thank you. I want to talk about that today. In regards to the 5G polls, in regards to the 5G polls, I'm looking on our Facebook page it is, and I saw that we did post a letter that was sent by the OTI office in regards to like a response to the polls. And like, it's kind of weird because they sent that letter after our last board meeting, which was on the 28th, and you only gave us 15 days to respond to it. So it's like, so I guess I have two questions on this, right? In regards to OTI, when requests like that are sent, what committee does that go to? And also, what processes do we have to streamline such requests so that we can ensure that the community's voice is heard? Because what I'm hearing today is that there is quite a bit of opposition and concern about the polls going up, and we don't have, we're over here debating rules, but we don't have a efficient system in place to respond to these type of letters that really matter mid session, when maybe midway when we're not, meeting. So like, what can we do?
Well, with something like this is definitely would go to the health committee, I would think, because we're dealing, we all, have the pros and cons, technology on one hand and health on the other. So I think this should go to the health committee to maybe have the committee bring people who have more information, the people who have the opposition to it, the people who are for it, and have more discussion so we do get more educated. and try to see if we can research exactly who we can get to give a presentation on this, as opposed to just a few days to respond to a letter.
Yeah. I agree with you in the sense that this is a health issue per se, but I mean, I would think the land use committee maybe should be moved on this a little bit just because of, the way that it's being popped up in our community. But also in the sense, I mean, just looking at it now, like, I mean, is it possible that we could have a workshop or get a contact with representatives to get prepared for next month? So we could probably meet on this issue in a committee and, get something going before it takes action?
Well, that makes sense. What committee do we want to, I mean, it's half of one and six of the other. If it's health and land use, we can make a decision on either one and really just get somebody to really just give us more information on this.
So, okay, hello? So when we get stuff like this, I know people do come to me a lot. But remember, I put together a contact info spreadsheet. You gotta find it again. If you haven't filled it out, if you're okay with each other contact, I mean, just email Berta, say, hey, this is a really important issue, text her, call her. Not enough people have filled out that spreadsheet to my knowledge, so you can contact each other. I understand there may be reasons why for that, but, hold on, I got new people.
Country, and one of
Was everyone muted? I don't hear anything.
I lost something for a while. I just got back on.
Yeah, I muted, I muted everybody, Mark. I don't know if can you ever hear me?
Well, I could hear you now, Jeremy.
Okay, so if you're not gonna speak, please mute yourself. I had to mute everybody because I think a member of the public was unmuted and we could hear their conversation. So there's no easy, long story short, Malcolm, there's no easy answer, right? Some of this we're still trying to figure out because some things are new to us, some things were still too new to us.
Well,
Go ahead.
I guess, I mean, this is something that I personally would really like to, move on. Like, is it possible that we could start an email chain, start discussing it? Just
Malcolm,
so we can
this is
address it before the
Sandy.
next meeting? Hey, Sandy.
Hi, the health committee, it's a great idea. I'm also thinking, why not have a town hall meeting to really get all of the people within the community involved?
Well,
and have the people come and talk, because it's all about money. The people, the people putting up the polls, they're going to make money. The city is going to make money, but we're the ones who have the problem.
Yeah, well, I'm personally, I'm all for, community voice, but, just using, that one town hall meeting as an example, I really want to ensure that we can bring in as much information within our board as an example to have an educated conversation as to what the best steps are, and then bring in the town hall so we can further facilitate the opinions and get the voice, and then make a informed vote. So I would rather us make that committee inside our board, and gather the necessary stakeholders to get the information that we need and make the decisions, and then have a town hall. I really do think that to move efficiently, means we have to start collecting information before making any kind of rush decisions.
Well, that's a good point. And the person who spoke earlier, the attorney, she seems to have a lot of information. Susan Peters, maybe they would want to come to a meeting.
Give me,
I think it would seem to me that what we should do is have a non-standing committee on this. That committee would have, it says it's an intersection of about 3 different committees that have issues on this. We should have a non-standing committee and have that committee charged with exploring this and having more on this.
Yeah, we used to have a non-standing technology committee, which I guess more or less got disbanded once I created our website and all that stuff. But it's not a bad idea to resurrect something like that. Probably makes sense to fold it into the social media committee. I don't know if you would agree with that. Like social media and technology. I don't know.
I just feel like there's just so many things involved into that one with health, with the use of land, housing. I just don't see a place for it within the social media committee. Like I do think that a separate committee just specialized just for that will be a good first step, to be honest.
Okay. Bernard?
Okay. This is going to be further discussed, okay? Because, yeah, I don't think there's any answer right now because it's, but it has to go, it really needs to go to a committee. And from there, we can do our research and then bring it maybe as a full board presentation.
And I guess the only other issue that arises from this also is the fact that when we get responses to respond like this, when we're, middle of the month and we just had a community board meeting, it's out of our purview to respond, until we meet the next month, which is 30 days. And they were asking for 15 days to respond. So, I mean, me personally, I felt like maybe if this was made a priority, we could have had an executive meeting or in some sorts to discuss it and get engagement anyhow. I mean, is there any way we can move around or find a ways to revamp our bylaws to allow such streamlined responses and to allow us to move quicker?
Well, my question is, why are we creating, all right, we can go on all evening, but why are we creating more committees when we have specific committees that it could possibly go into and be inclusive of the whole parameter of what we're trying to discuss?
Well, because the letter that I'm looking at from the OTI office is literally stating that we have 15 days to respond from February 28th. It is currently March 23rd. You know what I mean? So we weren't going to be able to respond as a community board until today. And we would have been outside of that window. So we definitely do need a better system to respond to these type of letters quicker. You know what I mean? Because then that means that the community lost input.
Okay, but the thing is, maybe there could be a direct phone call to the people to say, we need a little bit more time to digest this, more information before because we have a 15-day deadline.
100%, but that phone call would have had come from us. That's also an issue. You know what I mean? Like at some point, I mean, I don't want to say that, but the ball was dropped and it wasn't a priority. And we do have to do better to ensure that, we are the ones saying, look, we operate a certain way and we need more leniency to get our input and to gather information what we got to do. But the ball was dropped here somehow, some way.
Okay.
Okay. So, and anybody, until I did email everybody recently, or board members, you all have each other's email, or you should at this point. I know some of you still use your personal email for board business. If you don't want other board members having the email, please a lot of you have created your own CB11 specific account. I highly recommend that. If you can't find the spreadsheet, I'll find it, I'll fill it out. But I know that doesn't necessarily reach everybody. Just send me an email, ask me to forward it on to the entire board. Me, Harriet, or Chris, we can always do that. Serena, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, but I just want to say that first I have a question. I know I responded to the email that I received, and I'm interested in knowing how many of our board members responded to that email. The other thing is that I want to just I appreciate the fact that the social media committee did share this information with the public. And just kind of back to Malcolm's point, 15 days. I'm not looking at the email right now because I'm more concentrated on the chat and on this meeting, but I don't know when we were alerted of OTI's letter, but that's really not enough time. And the reality is that if we're not talking about this as a board, then we can't even make one phone call.
So
That's all I have to
we
say.
have to, okay, so we also have to remember that some of these short deadlines are maybe intentional, right? Like, I mean, so arguably committee boards were created in the beginning under Mayor Lindsay or Wagner or whomever, in part, just to have people go over here and complain, and so we can do what we need to. You go to the committee board, right? I mean, I don't want to minimize what we do, right? We do help people in need. I personally done it. I know a lot of you personally helped people. But at the same time, remember, this is somewhat structurally flawed. Does that make sense? Sandy, you have your
What?
mic on, Don? Can you stay muted then?
I don't know.
Yeah, if you're not talking, just stay muted, please, so I don't call on you. All right, so Bernadette, go ahead.
What happened?
Okay, we're going to go on to the committee reports, but before we do that, I just wanted to say there were two things that I forgot in my chair report. One was that there was a request to meet with the borough president, Vanessa Gibson, and the other one is that today is the first day of Ramadan. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. Okay, on to our committee reports. First is the bylaws. So I give it to you, David.
Thank you,
Really quick,
Bernadette.
before we move forward, are my questions going to be answered or we're just going to move forward?
We're good.
Just
We're good.
tell
We're
me.
good.
Okay, so we're not answering my questions. Okay.
Well, can you repeat the question?
So my
Bernadette, do you
question,
remember the question?
my question was, I received the email that was sent to me. I'm trying to bring my hand down. I received the email that was sent to me, and I'm sure you sent it to the entire board about OTI and these towers. I had some concerns, and so I responded, and this was on March 11th. I remember it very well. I know that the social media committee announced to the community that these towers are going up. I'm interested in knowing how many responses we received from our community board members that received the same email that I got in response to that.
So I don't know how if you want me to go through my emails right now, others, I don't know how to tell you because
Now-
I'm focused on, like you said earlier, on the meeting now versus going to the email. So if you want, I can go through my emails. Debbie Kowalik just pointed out to me that February 28th is when we got the email and I believe it was Harriet who forwarded it out onto everyone. I don't know who else responded. I think Chun responded. I don't have an answer for you all right now. Is that okay?
No, that's fine. But what I felt kind of like, it was like I asked questions and then it was like, okay, so we're going to just move forward to something else. And just tell me you're not going to answer my questions and we'll be okay with that. Like, I'm totally okay with that.
There's going to be there will be further discussion on this, but for us to stop the meeting and to try to get a head count on the response to that would really not be a part of this meeting. That's something that we could do tomorrow or whatever, but not right now, Serena. Okay?
Cynthia Rodriguez has her hand up.
So in the interest of having clarity and just some direction, might I suggest that we ask for a moratorium for some time to respond, as someone mentioned and suggested in the chat, and that way we can get more information and then figure out how to address it in a more organized manner.
Cynthia, great idea.
If that's what is put in the chat, just know that we can't read what's in the chat, to everybody that's here. But that sounds like having more discussion on this and coming up with more realistic answers, which we cannot do at this moment. So yes, we're in agreement, I'm assuming.
Okay, so can we move on with David's report, or is there any other questions, comments? David?
Okay, thank you. The Bylaws Committee met on March 15th, and I thank everyone who participated in that meeting. We had a very productive meeting. We had 6 proposals to change the bylaws, and the people who were there who made specific recommendations agreed to hold over 3 specific recommendations for further discussion next month because they raise complex issues. One has to do with seating time for gallery session speakers. The next is changing the 2-year restriction for people on the board to run for an officer position, and also a recommendation for committees to elect their chairs and co-chairs. So those issues will be discussed at a bylaws meeting next month, and our hope is that we'll be able to bring forth specific changes to the full board for a vote. That said, tonight, there are 2 proposals that I can bring forward for a vote. One is to amend the Community Board 11 bylaws conduct statement, and it would be rather lengthy for me to read now, and I think confusing in this forum. I believe the revised conduct statement was sent to the full board earlier. If someone is able to summarize the changes, I would ask them to do that. Jeremy, is there a way to, I guess you don't have a screen there. I guess we couldn't put it up.
I could if you want. I did print it off. I put it in the chat. I printed it off for everybody here in person. If you want, I can share my screen. It's not a.
If you're in the room, if it's appropriate, then I would appreciate it. If it's not, then I understand.
No, I'll do it right now. Just give me a second. It is a bylaw proposal. It is important. Bernadette reminded me that I forgot to print it off until she reminded me right before I was leaving the office. Hold on. Bear with me.
What just happened? We just.
I'm pulling something up, Sandy. Give me a minute.
Oh.
Again, I'm juggling a lot here. Okay.
So we can't, oh, I see. So you have a screen in the room, Jeremy? Everybody is able to see that?
I actually, you know what? I forgot. I don't know if I can share it because I don't know. I'm sharing it, but it's not working. Oh, it is? Oh, I'm sorry.
I see it. I see it,
David? Okay,
yeah,
I don't see it. All right.
So the items in red are the proposed changes to the conduct statement. If there are any questions, we can answer them now. Otherwise, I'll call for a vote. I'll leave it open for a moment to see if there are any questions.
Veronica Castro has a question. Veronica?
Hi, David. I was curious why numbers 6, 7, and 9 are directed solely towards board members and or board staff. They are good suggestions, but I think it would be better suited to also include the public in that, not just directly towards the board members and staff.
That's very interesting, Veronica. The proposed change did not come from the committee. Miguel Dyer made these proposed changes. I believe he's in the room. Miguel, would you like to speak to the question?
It also does not include staff at the end. Maybe that should be modified. I think we also have a responsibility not to disseminate false information. That matters. I don't think we intentionally do that.
So that was not intentional. I mean, can we modify that now? Just, you know, it should be for member staff and the public, all of them. I didn't do that specifically, but that's the spirit of the.
I think
so. David, can we also clarify, or Veronica, clarify which, and this would come into context, because we're limited in our ability with members of the public. I think we're talking about maybe on like our social media page, or what are you, how would you?
That's what she was concerned.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's coming in,
Oh, sorry, Mike. Sorry.
if somebody's coming in blatantly giving us false information that we know to be false, then they could be prohibited from speaking. We could stop them from speaking and ask them either to sit down, and if they give us promise, we can make them leave. As such, the board members and the staff should also refrain from giving out any kind of information unless it's been vetted to be sure that the information itself is correct.
So specifically, Veronica, you're referring to which numbers on the proposed changes?
6, 7, and 9. 6, 7, and 9.
Okay.
And I think it's clear to those of you in person, but I have to turn down the mics, otherwise it becomes feedback.
Okay. Miguel has no issues in making those proposed changes. If the committee members don't have any issues, then I think that we should take a vote on it this evening with those proposed changes. Is there any discussion?
So, yeah, David.
Yeah,
Malcolm.
I'd like to make a friendly amendment.
Yeah.
To, you know.
Miguel, go ahead.
I said I'd just like to make that a friendly amendment, you know, to add, I have no problem.
Okay, so.
Thank you, Miguel.
Okay,
is there any other discussion, any other questions before we take a vote on these changes? Okay, hearing that there's no other discussion, I'll ask if anybody is opposed to this change to the bylaws. Is anybody opposed? Hearing no opposition, I'll ask if anybody's abstaining.
So, hold on, David.
Okay.
Malcolm, what's that? No, who? Junior? So Junior's opposed.
Okay. So we have one opposed. Is anybody abstaining?
If you're online, I can't see your hands or anything, so please unmute yourself and speak up. Because I'm sharing the screen, I really can't do both and share the screen. I mean, I can stop sharing the screen at this point, maybe? Stop sharing the screen?
I don't see any hands.
Okay.
Hearing no abstentions, this motion passes with one opposed. There's one other change to the bylaws to be considered by the full board tonight. That's a motion to amend our bylaws to recommend that board members serve on 3 committees, but requiring that they serve on at least 1 committee, but no more than 4 committees. This does not apply to the leadership committee, which is composed of the chairs of the standing committees, and does not apply to the chair of the board. Are there any questions about this motion?
No, David, no, not in person. I don't know about online.
Okay, hearing no questions or discussion, then I'll call for a vote. Is anybody?
Excuse me, David?
Yes.
Ken Gelling, I do have a discussion. This was not a question about it. That's why I didn't speak up before. I think there's enough that people are having enough problems getting members for committee that even to recommend that you have three committees not going to go over well, and not going to do well for the board. It is hard to serve on one or even two committees. To recommend that you have three is
You're
not
right.
good.
You're right, Ken. And we had extensive discussion about this at the bylaws committee. And initially, the change was to require that board members serve on at least three committees. But once we discussed the issue fully, we came to the understanding and agreement among those who were present that it was the idea here is to encourage board members to be as active as they are able to be. And so we understand that if you're a chair of a committee, that, it would be hard for you to serve on multiple committees, but that the idea here is to really encourage as much participation as you can, but it's not a requirement.
And I understand that, then why don't you use the word encourage instead of recommend?
Well, yeah, Ken, this is Sandy. We discussed this and we left it open. It was their choice. And we said that the members can, choose to serve. That's what I remember we talked about, David and Bernadette, that they had a choice of up to three, but they could only be on one or two. So it's nothing that it's written in stone.
Right. I think
That's all that
I think the word encourage more accurately describes the outcome of our discussion. If the members of the committee agree, and then I really think that was the what we had talked about. Jeremy, do you disagree?
I know that Bernadette didn't disagree when she sat in with us, when we kind of said, at the members' discretion.
So what's the question again? Because my head is exploding.
Well, because Jeremy, the wording that was on the agenda, it says recommend, when we really thought that it was encouraged. Three committees.
I'm pretty sure it was recommended. I think it's a matter of
No, Jeremy, because I remember making that change and Bernadette agreed with that idea of using the word encourage or leaving it up to the board member, not recommend.
Okay, well, I can go back to my email from 2 days ago or whatever that nobody responded to. I said, does this look good? I think Joanne Rubino might have responded to that, but you didn't, so I don't know what else to tell you.
I get so many emails.
Yeah,
I know.
I was at that meeting and we did agree on recommend. And I think
Yes.
we need to understand the intent of the language. The intent of the language is to recommend that at least three meetings. You're not required to
Thank you, Naomi.
have 3 meetings. No problem.
Thank you for
Serena has her
clarifying
hand
that.
up. Serena has her hand up.
Go ahead, Serena.
You're muted, Serena. Unmute.
I know. I'm trying. I'm trying to read the chat. I'm trying to do all just like you, Jeremy. So Naomi answered my question, right? It was 3 recommended meetings, right? So that's what I was trying to understand. The other thing I wanted to understand was so as and as I believe it was Ken who mentioned, right, when you're a chair of a committee and then you're part of the CB board overall, and then you're part of leadership overall, right? So those are 3 committees. And then if you tie in another committee, but as long as it's, I think an optional, oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. That's my grandson. He scared me. I think an optional, kind of like that. What was that word that was suggested? Recommended? Was it recommended?
Yes.
Okay, I think
Encourage?
Encourage, Joanne. I think encourage would be great. And I'm all for it because I know a lot of us do attend a lot of these meetings just by default. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you, and I apologize for the noise in the back.
Thank you.
So to my understanding, the intent of the language was excluding leadership.
Yes.
So, okay. So I just want to make sure that's clear. That's excluding leadership. So these are just 3 committees that you choose out of the committees that we offer.
Right.
So quick question. So say, okay, because by default, I'm part of leadership, right? So say that I do attend different meetings throughout the month. How are we kind of just notating that, not just me, but in general, the board, that we as a board are attending different meetings? Is that something that we even want to consider?
It would appear,
Attending.
Serena, it would appear on the
Somebody-
minutes
David,
as a guest. You would be a guest at that meeting, and you would be listed that as a board member, you were attending a meeting as a guest.
Yes, but it doesn't mean that you are like assigned to that meeting. You're sitting in. Do you understand?
So Ken, I think you raise an important point. I hope that this discussion of the issue makes it clear that it's not a requirement, that the idea here is to encourage as much participation as a board member can handle.
And let's use the word encourage and not recommend.
Well, we had a full discussion about this at the committee,
Okay.
and we can. It would be disruptive to change that one word here.
Fine. So let's have a vote on it, and be done with it.
Okay. Is there any other discussion before we take a vote?
Yeah, Malcolm Gray.
Recommend and require are entirely two different words.
Absolutely.
It's entirely two different meanings. If you Google the definition of recommend, it doesn't say you're required to do anything. I'm sorry.
I understand that it's the nuance.
Whoa. It's my time to speak. Recommend and encourage is pretty much the same thing, just different words. It's pretty the same thing. Unless it said required, then we'll be requiring the members to have to get on 3 committees. But recommend is saying if you have the time, we encourage you to do it. It's not saying you have to do it.
Malcolm, there is a nuance. There's a different nuance. I believe it should be encouraged. Let's have a vote on it, and that's the end of it.
Okay. Is there any other discussion before we take a vote?
Good. All right. So, David, go ahead.
Okay. So if there's no other discussion, we'll take a vote. I'll ask if anybody is opposed to this motion. Is anybody opposed to this motion?
I am.
Okay. Ken is opposed.
I'm opposed.
Okay. Is anybody else opposed?
Shradhannon heard him. That's
Okay.
2.
Is anybody abstaining?
Can't go there.
Is anybody
No.
abstaining?
No one here in person.
Okay, so there's no abstentions. So this bylaw change passes with 2 against. The bylaws committee will be meeting next month, and we will be discussing other important issues that were held over from last month and the new change that was proposed this month. Before I conclude, I did want to address Malcolm's comment a few minutes ago about there is a current bylaw provision that has been in our bylaws for many, many years that allows the leadership committee and the executive committee to act on behalf of the community board when sensitive, should say time-sensitive issues come up, and we must respond to the city of New York. This is a fairly common occurrence. And so we do have that relief valve, and we do have a way for us to respond because we do elect the board members to act on our behalf. So if issues like this come up again, Bernadette, you have the tools to act on behalf of the board by calling an executive board meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you, David.
Okay, that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Okay. So we are going on to the social media. And I know that Joanne Rubino, I think, is.
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay, very good.
I'm online. Okay. We had a meeting on March 6th. and it was a very successful meeting. And we did the minutes are not published, but they are completed and they will be published very shortly. The main reason for the meeting is we wanted to try to bolster the official page to have more participation. And one of the reasons, and Debbie and Cynthia worked on this, and Malcolm, about having an Instagram page to kind of encourage young people to be with us, because I'm not an Instagram person, but they are. And I think that would be something that would be very positive. So I wanted to say that we have a motion. We did do a motion. I don't need a second, but there's a motion to make, it's called CB11 Bronx. What's the name of our page? We want to link it to our official page. So to make it the official Instagram page. So that's our motion. So we want to see if is there any discussion about that? Any questions?
Oh, it's funny, Joanne. My daughter hooked me up to Instagram, and I would rather be on Instagram than Facebook, so it's fine.
I know a lot of people like it. I'm not into it, but I have one. I just never pay attention to it. But anyway, so if there's no more discussion,
Joanne?
Yes?
Joanne?
Yes.
Yeah, because Jeremy stepped out of the room. I had to run for a mic over here.
Okay.
Just for clarification, it's
Sure.
CB, the number 11,
11,
BX,
BX, right.
not the word.
Not the
So
word.
I just
Thank
want
you.
to, clarify that.
Right. When I see BX, I think Bronx. So sorry about that. So, so is there any questions or any discussion about this motion? I don't need a second. Yes.
I just want to take a moment for Jeremy to come back and check to see
Okay.
if there's anybody online.
There's no hands up.
There's no hands?
Okay.
Okay, I can't see that over there.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no discussion.
Okay, no discussion, so I'd like to call for a vote. Is anyone opposed to this motion? Or abstentions?
None. All that I ask, Joanne,
Yes.
is that we put that information in a separate email to the whole board.
Okay, that can be done. Okay.
Right, that's easy.
Yeah, okay, and then people will be all aware and they can.
Right.
I also encourage everyone who is on the official page to tell their friends to follow our official page. Okay, so if there's nobody opposed, I guess the motion passes.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you. Happy spring, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, we are moving on to leadership, and I think this is Veronica.
So we have a quorum call. So at any point in the meeting, if anybody wants to call, if we have a quorum, we check. So if we don't have a quorum, that means the meeting will, I mean, we can still talk about whatever's on the agenda, we just can't vote.
Do we have a quorum?
I'm checking right now. So Junior's still here. I just got to go through it. I mean, Junior, Veronica's still here. Is Christine still here? Christine Culpepper? Chris online, she's still here? Not, I will just move on. Miguel's still here. Bernadette's still here. Is April still in? Okay, Rabbi left, right? Ken Gelnick is still here, I believe, right?
He was a few minutes ago.
Yes, I'm still here, Jeremy.
All right. Malcolm is still here. Yes.
There's one phone number that's a 917.
Well, they should unmute themselves and identify themselves if they're a board
so that you'll
member.
know.
If they're an appointed member of the board. Debbie is still here. David is still here, I assume. Roger, I think I saw,
I'm
he's
here.
still online, David? Okay. Hazel's here. Serena is still on, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, feel free, Debbie, if you're able to assist, let me know. Or anybody else, if you see them online.
You have Jeanette
Yeah,
Wilson. Jeanette Wilson is on the health committee. She's
No, she's W's are at the end, so Strato just left.
What about Lisa Soto?
Naomi's still here. Hold on. Cynthia, I assume is still online.
I'm still here, yeah.
Ellie's still online, I was told. Joanne's still online.
I'm still
Harry,
here.
Harry's still online. Oral, I assume, is still here.
Yeah, I'm still here, but someone has to mute. I think Sandra has to mute because I keep getting feedback and I keep hearing echoing.
I know, I
Okay.
unmuted.
Yeah, no, can you mute yourself though? All right, thank you. We have a quorum, all right? With
Okay.
Jeanette, it's 19, so we need 19 for a quorum currently. All
Thank you,
right,
Jeremy.
Okay.
Veronica.
Thank you. About leadership? Okay. So we had our leadership meeting, and one of the things that came up was a motion regarding the White Plains Road Municipal Parking Lot, the southern lot. Now, one of the things that we wanted to wait for was the farmer's market, a representative from the farmer's market was meeting with DOT. So we got an email, it came through at 11 o'clock last night. So Jeremy, is it okay if I read it? It's not a long email.
Yeah, whatever, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, either way, 11 o'clock at night would have been this morning, so. So it says, hello, thank you for addressing with DOT the market needs for parking in the Bronx Park East Lot. On Monday, March 20th, I spoke with Miriam Espinoza from DOT regarding the parking lot. The parking lot permit is a concept DOT is proposing to the community for feedback to deal with parking issues in the area. The attachment is the request for 15 parking spaces for vendors at the market from June to November. They said the permits will be on a first-come, first-served basis, and they don't know the cost for the permits. I mentioned any cost will greatly affect the market's budget as quote-unquote parking cost is not a line item you can place on a grant application. I forgot to ask how they plan to enforce the permitted spaces and type of ticket fine. They also asked, could you ask DOT how to plan to keep someone from, say, Westchester from getting a permit, and what are the permit requirements? In the meeting, I asked about the placement of the power source for the EV station. They were unsure if the source was above or underground and if the placement would be in Bronx Park East parking lot. Honestly, I don't think DOT has a well thought out plan for the parking lots. I hope this was helpful. So this is what came about from the farmer's market meeting with DOT. So based on that information, I wanted to give everyone that information before we moved on with the motion so that everybody's well informed of what came out of that. So the motion that was brought up at leadership was to send a request to the City Department of Transportation to reconsider the proposed White Plains Road Municipal Parking Lot reconfiguration for the southern lot, which would also include the community's past and present concerns. Now, the suggestion was that if we didn't oppose the northern parking lot, we'd have a better chance of saving the southern parking lot for the residents and for the farmers market. So that's the motion that's on the floor now. Do we have any discussion? Debbie?
So you're saying to reconsider? To send a letter to reconsider, not send a letter in opposition of the southern lot?
Right. The thinking during the, on yours? Restate your question.
So you're saying for them to reconsider the southern lot and not oppose the southern lot?
Right. So the thought at the leadership committee meeting, the thought was that if we send the letters of opposition, and that usually gets us nowhere. So if we try to make a compromise and say, we're not opposing the northern lot, but we would like you to reconsider our thoughts on the southern lot, then maybe it would give us a better chance of them agreeing to some kind of compromise instead of us just going out there and saying we oppose everything.
No, I'm not saying I'm not necessarily saying oppose everything, but they can reconfigure whatever they want with the northern lot. I'm just saying we kind of have an opposition of them touching the southern lot. They should just leave it flat out alone. By them charging from permits, it's going to put a fiscal, financial burden on people in the area. And it's going to be an issue with the farmer's market whenever they go to hash that out. If they want to reconfigure stuff for EVs and stuff like that for the northern lot, fine. Let them, that's already a paid lot. Let them restructure that for the EV vehicles, the EV charging stations, whatever. But they need to leave the southern lot alone and leave it free.
That's what, sorry, Jeremy. That's what we're basically asking them to do. We're going to list, Jeremy said he would go back to the other meetings and list all the concerns that the residents brought before us. So that way we put everything in the email. So basically what we are going to be asking them is to reconsider to not do anything to the southern lot, to reconsider leaving that alone. So we don't want to just come out and say we're opposed. We're trying to see if it works maybe better if we say, we'd like you to reconsider this, and these are the reasons why, instead of just blatantly saying we oppose it, and them just saying, oh yeah, they oppose it again. So we're trying to try a different strategy and see if maybe that helps.
Thank you.
Miguel has a question?
Who's that?
This is the rabbi.
online?
I'm now in Israel by the time this meeting started. Okay. Okay, so I don't hear anything concrete here. Is there anybody from the board that could give me something that we could go back to DOT? I know we're saying let's keep the status quo, but is there something super that we could recommend that would help our wonderful community here? I mean, I know it's a yes and a no, but is the status quo really the best way to keep everything? What's going to make people happy?
No permits. They have to do away with the permits. There should not be any permits needed for parking in that lot.
Or meters.
Or meters.
I had
Southern
my,
lot. That's what we're
Okay,
talking about.
Miguel?
just I just wanted to make it clear that I know when I spoke on this issue, it will literally affect me, but at the end of the, not having permits is one thing, but they're I'm more than happy to have them put in charging stations in that lot. But that would be something helpful to the community. But charging me over $1,000 a year is not. Thank you.
I think the charging stations were in the northern lot, I think. I think they already implemented them in there, didn't they? Or am I wrong on that?
Zip bars? Yeah.
Mike?
Zipcar is already in the northern lot. So they are proposing to put the chargers in both and making them both,
Okay.
paid lots. So they're not there yet.
So I don't recall seeing them wanting to put any charging stations in the southern lot. I do recall seeing them wanting to put the charging stations in the northern lot.
So that's why I'm making the suggestion. That's why I'm making the suggestion that they put, if they want to do something helpful to the community, put the charging stations in the southern lot also. Don't just take money from us, give us something.
Malcolm?
Yeah, and plus, the idea of it is about getting us to the table. I think, and that's where we have more leverage is at the table. Because if we say no, right, then they're just going to say, all right, cool, CB11 said no again, move on with the project. But if we're saying, look, we understand what you're trying to do, the north lot is north lot, right? All right, the north lot, go ahead and do what you got to do, but the south lot, keep that free or open to different ideas. And we come with a list of ideas and have that conversation with them about what makes the community better, that allows us to have a more cohesive, not cohesive, a much better conversation with DOT. Because, what we saw with the road diets, we're being iced out, and doing the same thing over and over again is literal insanity. And it's time that we try to implement new strategies to get us to that table and strengthen our leverage and our bargaining power.
I think that what we're saying quickly is not to keep the southern lot, because that's the larger lot, correct me, right? The southern lot is the.
Southern lot is the one that's near the old bingo hall.
The southern lot is the one that we want to keep the way it is, okay? Not per permits in it. And bottom line, it's all about parking. You've got a high-density area over there. You have a lot of cars. The cars need the parking spaces, and they have been there for how long? I think a very, very long time, if I am correct. And they just restructured with the sidewalks, and they actually took away, I think, a few spots. But the community needs the parking, and to actually start doing something else with that, it will be a burden on the community. So that, I think, is a good enough reason to push back, for the community to push back, and to actually tell them to focus on the other lot, the northern lot, to do what they want to restructure. Is there really a need to go any further than that with specifics? Okay.
Yeah, so then the motion is staying as voted on, right? Nobody has a motion? We're going to vote on this now?
Yeah.
So just restate the motion, unless you want to do it, Veronica. It's to send a request to the City Department of Transportation to reconsider the proposed White Plains Road municipal parking lot reconfiguration for the southern lot. There are two lots, there's northern lot, southern lot, we want them to reconsider, and we would include the community's past and present concerns.
Okay, that's the end of discussion. Do we have any opposed? Any abstentions? Debbie's looking.
So unless anybody's abstaining.
Motion passes unanimously. Just one quick note for the treasurer's report. I forgot to mention that if you haven't noticed, we have the floodlights out on the Morris Park side of the board office. So it's nice and bright there. So that's one of the things that we've recently purchased.
Okay, Joe Thompson, Economic Development. I'm sorry, Brian.
It's okay. It's okay. It's fast.
Either one.
I'll use them both. I've got a lot to say.
You only have 2 minutes.
That's a lot of time for me. Well, first of all, there's nothing wrong with Chuck E. Cheese, and we have no objection to them renewing their liquor license. Now, we do have a problem with La Casa de Mofongo, and this is a new location. It's on East Gun Hill Road, and they're looking for a full license. Unfortunately, I got this a little bit late and I was inconvenient, but I have to look at this place before I can say yes on this, because it's too problematic. They have live music, they have disc jockeys, they have recorded music. They don't have anything about their security, and they have nothing about their hours of operation. So this is something that we definitely have to look at, and also look at their NSEL system. So we're going to do an inspection on that early next week, and then we'll report back to the board. But this has to be done thoroughly.
So Joe, you guys, so we didn't get this, well, we canceled the meeting, right? We only knew of Chuck E. Cheese. So you didn't have a meeting. Do you want to make a motion that we recommend no objection to the renewal for Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah, I'll make a motion for that.
Okay.
That we have no objection to renewal for Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, we need a second.
Second
By
that.
Malcolm Gray.
I second that.
Malcolm, Naomi, whomever. Okay. Any discussion? Debbie Colick?
I got an objection to, I got a objection to Chuck E. Cheese because there's been fights there and quite frankly, I mean, yes, some people might need alcohol to deal with their children, but you don't need alcohol near children. So I have an objection to that with Chuck E. Cheese.
Chris, do we have a police report on anything with Chuck E. Cheese? Okay,
I have a question.
how about the Department of Sanitation? And how about any complaints to the board itself? We don't.
Not that we're aware of.
I have a question.
Doesn't mean we
about
can't
that.
follow up and ask. Officer Maderos was here, but he obviously left. Phyllis,
I have a question. Chuck E. Cheese is a place for
can you
kids.
speak in the mic?
Chuck E. Cheese is basically a place for kids. Why do they need alcohol at a kid's place? Beer.
To make money.
Parents.
Well, somebody has to bring the kids. But no, if we've got no community complaints, we've got no police complaints, we will keep an eye on it just to be sure. But I haven't heard any official complaints or unofficial complaints until this one. But as far as the other location is concerned, definitely this has to be gone over with a fine tooth comb. This place is very, very problematic in our community. That's my report.
Okay, so hold on. So there was a motion. So you're objecting, Debbie, right? Anybody else want to object or abstain?
I'm going to abstain.
I object. This is Lisa.
Oh, wait a minute.
please-
Which one are we objecting to?
Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh,
Well, no. Debbie and Lisa are objecting to Chuck E. Cheese. And Phyllis is abstaining.
Hi, this is Melanie objecting to Chuck E. Cheese.
Hold on. Mulaney, go ahead.
Hi, this is Melanie. I'm objecting to Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, so that's 3 objections. Mulaney.
Jeremy, if I may say something. I remember years
Yeah.
ago when I was on the economic committee, Chuck E. Cheese came in and asked for a liquor license. And there was stipulation to that we had put in. I wonder if they still hold, or do you have the old contracts that they signed with us?
Chris, do you remember stipulation agreements at all?
Remember, they were gonna keep track no more than 2 drinks. I vaguely remember it. It's been a while.
So Chris thinks that at most it was 6 months to a year. You say, yeah, he thinks that was too long ago. It's just not
It
necessarily
was long
applicable.
ago. I think Dominic Ciano was chair of the committee when we did that. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other objections or abstentions? So if not, the motion carries, right? Majority is in favor of it?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we can't follow up with PD or anything.
We will follow up.
Because it's on the borderline, and no offense to NYPD, but they don't. Because it's on a precinct borderline, no offense to NYPD, but they don't show up there. There's many fights there. And, the alcohol shouldn't be around children.
Yeah,
And, the alcohol's just adding to parents fighting over petty little things over there.
Yes, so objection noted, right? Also, we got a new liquor license in today. I don't remember.
Yeah, I got that today, and we're going to look at that location, not this organization. That location is problematic. Yeah, well, they've had problems there before. Yeah, well, not 10 years ago, a lot sooner than that, something around 60 years ago or something.
Yeah.
But they've had problems over there.
I
We're
just-
gonna take a look at that, but we just got that today.
Yeah, we're not prepared to vote. I just want FYI, right, since we're here. All right. So unless there's anything else, Joe, can we move on to parks?
That's it.
Janice?
Okay, we had a discussion from the state regarding funding for Zimmerman. And they had an extensive application for the reconstruction of Zimmerman Playground. We haven't had a reconstruction since 1994, I believe. But they didn't want to talk about a bathroom. I've been on the Parks Department for over 7 years to reconstruct that bathroom. They went through, there's mold, there's plumbing problems, there's asbestos. I said, so fix it. Now they want to redo the park without a bathroom, without paying to put bathrooms in. I said, listen, do the reconstruction, take out something and put a male, female bathroom in, because we have lost out on Zimmerman programs because there's no bathroom. If you have a program, you have to have a bathroom. The kids are going to the bathroom between 2 cars, okay? When I told the Parks Commission in 2021, what are you gonna do? And I explained to her where the children were going to the bathroom. She got kind of embarrassed, and I've been at Parks Committee meetings, I've been asking her, how much will it cost? They included everything. And then I said, well, put some porta potties in there until the renovation is done. They do the renovation and the state people come in and say, hey, we got porta potties. I don't want these children using old, what do you call it? Back in the day when we didn't have bathrooms? Outhouses. These are new outhouses, okay? To me, they're new outhouses, okay? They have to be cleaned properly. They need running water and everything until this park is renovated, okay? I'm agreeing with the renovation, but I want take something out. They got a climbing wall and everything. Take a climbing wall out and put the bathrooms in, okay? Thank you.
Burnett first?
Yes, I just want to point out that you need to really stay firm and persevere with that. I think the bathrooms are extremely important, and I will just say, when we, Van Ness Neighborhood Alliance had gotten the funding from different elected officials, we got $1.3 million. And then that park originally, even though it's small, when I was growing up, it had a parky house and a bathroom. So when we asked, well, how much money would it be? Now, for the renovation of that park, it was 1.3. We were well within that. But it would have cost, and this is in 2015, another $1 million to put in a bathroom, which we had to make a decision. So my point is, it's about money, okay? But what we did find out by not having a bathroom is that a lot of programs can't come to our park.
That's it.
Unless we spend a lot of money for the porta potties for that day or whatever, and those porta potties are either $350 each. So there's another expense that goes into the civic association that is doing that, and the parks do not pay for that. So you really hold out for that, and you won't get the programs you need there, the ones that you want. So I just wanted to input that.
I just want to say I had a young woman that came with a little teepee, and she had an old potty in the teepee so the kids could go to the bathroom that day, on the day of the block party. And they sent Matt Damon, they sent Matt, and I said, where are the porta potties? He said, oh, they can't get here today. Big block party and no porta potties. He knew not to say anything else. I think he left out the side entrance, okay? Thank you.
Hello? Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, remember growing up, going to parks with no bathrooms, that was crazy. But I mean, looking at the event, not the event, the meeting that BPECA had alongside, Parks, they brought a lot of community engagement. They had even groups like SUV, and that area does need, the revitalization, the revitalization, need the park. I personally don't want to vote it down, but I do think that I believe they're still in the design phase of that park. So, and I think that they had the funding at first, but because of the redistricting, Riley's office, not Riley, was it, Riley was going to give the, Oswald was going to give the funding for that bathroom, but now that he's no longer in the district, they can't do it. So I think that if we're able to reach out to our elected officials and get them to commit to providing the money for the project, I think that's a good step forward as while it's in this design stage. So if we could do a yes vote, not a yes vote, but a project, an approval with the stipulation regarding the, providing that Parks find the money to construct the bathroom and do any necessary repairs. Right, exactly. And I mean, and we could also use the community development budget priorities committee also to push a request too. So we're tackling it on both sides. But I do think that it would look weird if we're saying no to a park being constructed in our community. But we also do need, to ensure that we're on them about them bringing that bathroom to that park. Yes.
So you're making a motion maybe, or so you want to basically recommend approval of their design contingent that they will commit to them, the Parks Department, the elected officials, that they will commit to funding the restoration of the rest stations.
Correct, yes. Yeah. 'Cause I believe we had a representative from every office at that meeting with BPECA. So they're aware that it's there. We just got to keep pushing on it.
So are you making a motion then? Or?
Yes, I'm making that motion.
So motion is to recommend approval of the Zimmerman Playground design as presented to the Parks Committee this month on the condition that the Parks Department and our elected officials will commit to funding for restoration of the rest stations. The rest stations are basically the bathrooms. So seconded by, I think, Serena?
Yeah, Jeremy, be careful with the wording. It's not a bathroom. You know why, right? It's in the wording, right? So it's called a comfort station or a rest station.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said rest station, right?
Okay, so you can call it. You can also call it a comfort rooms.
Yeah, I'm just letting people know that it is essentially a bathroom, even though it's not called a bathroom. They're called rest stations or whatever language it is. We'll get it right.
No, it's never called a bathroom. Well, I guess people.
I know, but I'm just
a bath.
I know. I just put it in layman's terms so everybody's clear that
you got it.
That's the big issue, right?
Okay.
Okay. So do we have a second? Unless there's any other discussion. Yes. So
Hello,
Harry wrote
Serena.
Yes, Harriet has that for the minutes. Any discussion or can we vote?
Let's vote.
Okay. Any against or abstentions? So unanimous? Okay, it's unanimously passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Janice? Okay, thank you. Serena, Community Development.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's a little late this evening. I don't have motions to present to the board, but I just wanted to do a very quick report. Thank you, Malcolm, for bringing that up. That was a part of my report. So that's great. A couple of things. I just wanted to again, alert the entire board. And right now on this agenda, you'll have our budgetary priorities. Please take a look at that budgetary priority preliminary budget that was released in January. We do not need to wait until September to submit our request for the next next fiscal year, but I just wanted to, again, just highlight that. I wanted to highlight the fact that we've contacted the Department of City Planning and informed them that a lot, and unfortunately, I have to admit that a lot of our asks, it could have been because of glitches. I don't know exactly why, but a lot of our asks were appeared on the budget in a way where they weren't assigned to the appropriate committees. And so I've reached out to right now the Parks Committee, and I just want to thank everyone last week for the two committees coming together, Parks and Safety, for bringing parks along, and transportation, to discuss certain things on this particular budget. But nevertheless, I'm waiting to find out from DCP when the registrar is going to be open so that we can go into the registrar and the budget to make those corrections. I've also invited Parks to come to our meeting. Hopefully, if they don't make it in March right now, they'll come in April. The budget right now is being reviewed by the Office of Budget Management, and then after that is going to be reviewed by the then after that there'll be a public hearing, which I've mentioned, but I feel like it's important to note, and then the mayor will release the budget. We will then have another public hearing in September, and so the entire board, as well as the community, has the opportunity to submit their requests for the next fiscal year. So I say that to say that I created, or this committee created, a form that's right now under review, so that the community and the board understands that we have 40 capital requests as a district and 25 expense requests that we can submit on a yearly basis, on a fiscal year basis. Additionally, we have this survey it's a survey that Debbie mentioned, that I mentioned, and Debbie, can you guys hear me? Okay, that was mentioned at our last full board meeting, and it's a district needs survey, and that survey has been presented and has been also uploaded onto our CB11 website. It's in English. It's also in Albanian, and it's also in Spanish. So I want everyone to know, Debbie, we had our friends over at our Friends of Pelham Parkway offer us an editable English form. The Albanian English form is also available on our CB11 website under forms. It's not editable as of yet, and the Spanish one is still pending. So I'm bringing this up so that everyone understands the process, and that this is just a process, and it's going to be available. Now, these are just this particular form that was offered by the Department of City Planning is for our community. So meaning that our community can go in, print it, and or send it to me, because my email is at the end of the forms, and then we can then offer that up when we are planning for the next fiscal year. We also have a site visit form that was presented to the CB staff, and that right now is under consideration for the entire board. And so once the DCP notifies us of when the preliminary and district needs registrar is open, we'll go in there and then we'll make any kind of changes that need to be made. I just want to say, Ms. Wilcox, if you, and to Malcolm's point also, we can add that to our request for the next fiscal year in terms of the parks and the Mulliner Park restrooms. And I think that is it for now. I'm looking at my notes, and I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And
Yes,
if not,
Serena?
that's it.
Did you
Yes, yes.
mention, I think you mentioned it earlier, but you have a meeting next week, right? We have a
Yes.
Bronx House, and I don't know,
Yes.
I think you were trying to get city plan, I know you mentioned parks, I don't know if city plan's coming. I know you wanted me to reach out to the YMCA.
Yeah.
They did get back to me today, coincidentally. I talked to them about, coming and presenting before your committee. In the meantime, we will probably have a phone call conversation, you, me, and them. That's okay?
Okay, that's
But
fantastic.
they're gonna see what they can provide. Remember, we're in between the new YMCA and the Castle Hill one. So I know people of this community board tend to have used both, or they've looked at both. So they may do presentations on both. I can't promise anything, but they did get back to me today.
Well, thank you, Jeremy, for that. And that's just for the full board and the community to understand or to just be informed that there were requests for different youth programming within our district, what we have, what we don't have, what we're missing. And so that's one of the reasons why we invited the Bronx House as well as the YMCA to see what we can learn maybe from them, how we can move forward. We're also looking into maybe perhaps once we gather all this information, have our elected officials, if there are any discretionary funds that can be allocated to this district. So we're working, it's just a work in progress, but I just wanted to report to the board and to the community what we've been doing to this point. So thank you so much for your time.
Naomi Pemberton?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask a question, two questions I have quickly. So one is I noticed on the budget report there are items, like one of the items for PS 121, the iPads that was requested like when I started here 3 years ago. So I'm just flabbergasted on how long it's taking for that to happen for our students. So is there anything that we can do to help the city understand that these are urgent matters or push these forward? And the second question is on the district needs. Is it electronic? Is there any way you can do the survey online? Those are my questions.
So thank you, Naomi. So thank you for that, because as everyone is very well aware, and I hate to say this because I've been saying it for far too long, but I'm also flabbergasted at the fact that this particular committee sat dormant for such a long time. This particular committee is a committee that all CB 11 committees should really attend and or join and really be involved in, right? And so when I when I was appointed chair and when I started to just compare our ask for 2020 and our ask for 2021 and our ask for 2022, they were all relatively the same. And this is not to blame one person or another. I'm stating facts as facts are, right? One line item in particular when it comes to our registrar is that we have 3 priorities, right? And our priorities were parks and our priorities were transit. But if you and I know you read it, but I'm speaking to everyone in general. If you're looking at the preliminary budget right now, you're seeing that schools and education is a priority, and we were missing. We had the opportunity to have 3 priorities and we only had 2, so we added education as 1. And so this is why for the past every month since it's been released, I continue to encourage not just the entire board but the community to let us know their input, because this is not a silo. We don't do this by ourselves. The community board members that have been here longer than I have understand what the district needs, and if the district needs more so I'm saying that to answer your question, there were things and glitches that I'm like, wait a second, there were things that were supposed to be asked of, let's say, for instance, the Parks Department that were asked of Transit. And so these things don't make any sense. And this is not Serena going, I'm trying to CYA. No, this is Serena being very transparent so that the board understands that there could be funding that we're missing because for the last several years, maybe we dropped the ball and we didn't do our due diligence. And there were things that we had been funded, that were still on the budget, and people were asking like, why is that still there? But it honestly, it's because it has to be reviewed and it has to be, it just has to be looked at with a fine-tooth comb, and it wasn't. And that's just the truth. And I hate to be that person to say it that way, but that's the truth. And so now, if it falls within this committee, I know now, since October, maybe 7 months from now and moving forward, we're responsible, not just me, but the board as a whole. So I appreciate that. And I even more than anything, Naomi, that you looked at it. How about that? That you looked at it. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
I encourage everyone to look at it and really think about also additional ways that we can get grants or money for our community. I think it's important. 3 years for our students who need, where we're encouraging education to get iPads and, and certain items in our community to be done. We need to look at it and, try to enforce the city to help us.
So just real quick.
I'm sorry, the other question I had is the NYC Planning District needs a survey online. Do you know?
You're muted.
Yes, I'm trying. I'm trying here. I'm on my phone. So the English one is online. At our last full board meeting, the DCP does not have it in an editable format. They just don't. They don't even have it outside of English. So the fact that we have it in Albanian and that we have it in Spanish was really because of this committee, because we went to our friends at Albanian Open Hands and we said, hey, can you translate this? And they did. And then, I translated the Spanish with a fellow community board member, CB11, Cindy Rodriguez, who, kind of looked at it. And so it's available, but it's not available on our website. Now, what does that mean to the community as a whole? The reality is that it's not going. DCP offers it as a tool, right? As a tool for us, the community board members of all, community boards, right? Throughout New York City and the 12 in New York and in the Bronx, right? So we're to take that information and then we take that and then we add it to our ask. So to answer your question, the editable English form is available. It just, the newer one that was provided to us by Roxanne Delgado has to be uploaded, right? The Albanian into English has to be made editable, and then the Spanish one has to be uploaded and then also made editable. So we're offering different avenues so that our community has a voice in whatever way, but then we have to take that information and we have to give it to the city. Now, ultimately, the city in May, I'm being told, will make that form available in maybe, I want to say in their 30 most prevalent languages. But again, that has to come back to us, and then we have to implement that. So I encourage the board, everyone, if you have asks, please, you can start adding to that. So come October, we're not waiting, we're not like just running. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna, Oral, I'm just going to add to that, Serena. One of the things that we need to also is to present whatever our needs are, even though this is to the budget priority, but also to our elected officials so that they can also push it. So I just want to add that as an extra push when we do have specific needs that are coming up, when people start using what we have on there. So I think that's just important to keep in mind.
Well, thank you for that. And that's something that Jeremy and I have been talking about, especially with regards to the youth programming, which is why Bronx House and the YMCA is coming. But we really do need to get all of our ducks in a row so that when we go to the electeds, we're going, okay, this is what we have, this is what we don't have, this is what we need. But yes, and then come May, when the public hearing, the date of the public hearing is announced, again, I really do believe if we come together as a community board as a whole, and we go to this public hearing, and at least they know CB 11 is here.
Okay.
Oral,
Okay.
you're trying to shut me up.
No, we just need, we have to,
we have to move things on.
It's 9:45.
I know.
All right, let's move it on.
This is important. It's important.
It is important, and we had, you said it very eloquently already. It's done. It's very good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I really do.
Thank you.
All right, so Oral, just one other thing. So since she brought it up, I don't want to justify the inaction of anybody, but I will tell you that, so Harriet's been here the longest, serving our community the longest, at least in terms of this official capacity on the community board. And our number one budget priority since the 80s, if not 70s, was the reconstruction of Pelham Parkway. Until the city actually cared, it didn't get done. I'm not saying that's right. It's just unfortunately
The nature.
how it's been. Am I wrong about that, Harriet?
It would have also cost a lot less if they'd done it when we asked for it,
Yes.
but they felt it wasn't necessary. And that when they finally decided it was necessary, they did it, and it cost so much more.
But why did they finally decide it's necessary? To my knowledge, there are too many people literally running into trees and dying and maybe suing the city. Again, it
I
comes down
remember
to
that. I remember that. Thank you, Jeremy.
Okay.
Education, culture.
Phyllis Stasio, education.
Hi, what we discussed mainly at our meeting this month was to bring more of the culture into the committee. And we are going to try to set up an international day in the park to bring all the cultures of the community together and celebrate there. And also, I spoke with Teresa Roberts today, the president of CEC 11. She would like me to meet with the principal of PS 89. They have some issues there, so I will be going and meeting with him. And to address Mr. Colangelo's issue about the Yankee Leadership Awards, that was a previous meeting. I really can't comment because I had to recuse myself from that discussion because I nominated someone. So I wasn't involved in the process of picking. Bernadette was also recused from the meeting. So, but it was discussed at previous meetings about the Yankee Leadership Award. April, we will not be having a meeting because of all the holidays. In May, Teresa Roberts will be our guest, the president of CEC 11. That's it.
Yeah, all right, thank you, Phyllis, and I appreciate you, because CC emailed me, I looped Phyllis in because I can't do everything, so I appreciate you, Serena, whomever, Bernadette, Sandy, you guys are proactive in reaching out to guests or reaching out to DCP or whomever. I appreciate that, thank you. So who's next, Bernadette, I'm sorry?
Ethics and disciplinary.
Campbell. Naomi Pemberton.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. I'm going to walk the catwalk later, so. Okay, hi everyone. I'm the chair of the Ethics and Disciplinary Committee. I'm Naomi Pemberton. I just wanted to alert you to our manual, which is in the agenda. You can click on it and review it, and it was passed last month. And the other agenda item that I was going to talk about is staff complaints. So, you know, we reviewed that staff complaints should not go to the Ethics and Disciplinary Committee. If you do have a staff complaint, you can absolutely submit it to us, but we will be forwarding it to the Executive Committee. We should not be handling staff complaints. It's, you know, there can be liabilities and legalities to that. So we'll be forwarding it to the Leadership Committee. So I just wanted to let everyone know. So you can absolutely submit them, but it will not be processed through our hearings. So I hope
Okay.
everyone has a good night. And is there any questions?
Oh. Okay, Sandy, you still with us for Health Committee? Sandy Younger?
Yes, I am. We had someone come, Dr. Baxi, and he spoke about the study, the Boost 3 study, which deals with traumatic brain injury and the methods they're using to treat it when someone comes into the emergency rooms right away. And he was looking for volunteers to sign up for the program, or if you, and that's it. And I know that there is a little no, not a little, a big advertisement or something in the Bronx Times report from last week on page 8 about this study with the information on it. It was very, very interesting. And we will have someone from the Disrupt Project coming next month. And that project aims to reduce the cancer burden and cancer health inequities in communities of Black, Indigenous, Latinx, Asian, people of color, etc., with health conditions. And they want to work with the community. It should be interesting. So I hope people will sit in and attend. Is that okay, Jeremy? Hello.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. I want to report on housing. We had an excellent joint meeting with land use. We had HPD come and talk about affordable housing and everything, and that has to do with affordable housing. It was a really great presentation. Great questions were asked, and they did a really thorough job in answering our concerns. So I encourage everyone to go and look at the recording. Thank you so much. And I want to thank the land use for joining us.
And yeah, Oral, I don't know if you guys are gonna meet on that BSA application. I forget the exact address, but I know Ken was looking into it. Yeah, 2344 or something, I forget what it was.
You mean the 2334 East Sister Road project? Well,
I think so.
well, yeah, some type of Cynthia mentioned it to Ken.
Yeah, it's like a variance, so that they have, it's a private house office building that once had medical, and then now they want to go back from law office to include medical again.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I'm sorry my camera isn't working on my computer, but yeah, yeah, Ken mentioned to me that he'll try to set up something this month to have a discussion on that issue. I guess if you can send Ken more details or me more details on exactly what.
No, he has it. Can you just
He
follow
has
up
it?
with me?
Okay. All right, because I don't have the information. I wish he would tell me. Okay, so
Yeah, I sent him an email recently, but I can send it to you.
yeah, so I can, because I know more about these type of issues. Okay, just send it to me. That's fine.
Veronica, Public Safety.
This month, we joined Rabbi Fuchs and the Transportation Committee for a joint meeting. Thank you, Rabbi Fuchs, for that. MTA and DOT did do presentations. I'm going to defer to Rabbi Fuchs to discuss that, so that in the interest of time, and it's more in his purview for his committee.
Okay, sanitation, Roger. I know there's new collection time sanitation is putting out. I did put that widget. I think I mentioned that. I don't know if there's anything else.
No, there's nothing else.
Okay. And I think Rabbi left. I don't think Christian's in the meeting. The elected officials, unless I'm missing any other committees. Kira from the Borough President's Office, I think she is still in, maybe? Yes, she is. Yes. Kira, do you want to unmute her? If you can hear us, you want to mute. If not, we'll move on and maybe we'll come back to her. We have somebody from Councilmember Velasquez's office, I believe, right? Yeah, we need the mic back. I forgot that. Yeah, she'll give it to you.
Can we get the 5 minutes or less?
No. We do 5 minutes for the principal, only 2 for the rep.
You got it. So 2 minutes. Sounds
All
good.
right. Thank you. I just want to go over some upcoming events. Participatory budgeting, the council member brought it back again this year, so it's the second time this council district has had it. So these are ideas that were proposed by members of the community, and now you guys get to vote on it. We're going to make sure that voting is widespread. It'll also be online. We've already talked to all the New York Public Libraries. All the libraries. So we're going to find a lot of voting locations throughout the district, but some of the ideas that'll be on our ballot this year include additional NYPD security cameras, library technology upgrades district-wide, an additional hydroponic science lab at the Bronx Delta School, some additional street tree planting and repaving of pedestrian pathways. I can share that with you guys as well, but we'll have it in our email newsletter and on social media for people to vote, as well as some locations throughout the district. This Monday, March 27th at 6 p.m. in partnership with the Red Cross, we're going to be having a pillowcase project, which is for children in grades 2 through 5. It's a workshop for them to be prepared for emergencies and practice what they've learned and share their knowledge with family and friends. So that'll be available. The registration is in our email and it's also on social. If anybody wants it, I can also share it with them. And then this week, next Friday, March 31st from 3 to 5 in partnership with Montefiore, we're having a Women's History Month promoting literacy event, which will include book distribution in honor of Women's History Month. And if you guys need, I have the sanitation times, but if not, I know Jeremy's already shared it. If there's any questions, I'll take them.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other council members? I know Kavan was here, but I think he left. I don't know if anyone else, mayor's office, any other city elected officials office, VA's office, I think I saw.
I have something from Natalia's office. Tiffany
Okay.
gave me her paper. New York State Senator Natalia Fernandez has the 2023 Women of Distinction Award, recommending an extraordinary woman in the district to be honored. The application is due by March 31st. I have the flyer up here. If anybody needs to scan the QR code, you have to live within District 34 to be nominated. That's it.
Okay.
Excellent.
Great. All right. I think Erica from the DA's office is present still, maybe. I don't know. If not,
Excuse
anybody?
me. Sorry. This is Mayhew from the New York City Comptroller's Office. I don't know.
Okay, great. Hey, thank you.
Alrighty, no problem. Good evening, everyone. I'm the Bronx Borough Director for the Comptroller's Office. I'm sorry I have my camera off, but my computer is not working very good right now. But we do have a few updates. The first one is that we released a analysis entitled Accounting for Asylum Seekers, which details the city's budget and contracts on services for asylum seekers who have arrived in large numbers over the past 11 months. The report provides the first transparent accounting of known contracts, and there are also these detailed data is available online. I could put that in the chat for everyone. And then lastly, a couple of weeks ago, we released a survey for, it's called the Aging New Yorker Survey. It is a way for us to try to find out how senior citizens in the city are interacting with city services, whether they're accessible or not. We're asking folks to please have seniors in your life to fill it out for us to possibly know where to look at, possibly as a potential audit for different city agencies, to see where these gaps lie. I'll also put the survey in the chat as well. And that is all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see Harmony from Senator Bailey's office is in. Harmony, are you available? If not, we'll move. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for having me on. I just wanted to share a number of events that we have coming up. I will post the details in the chat as well. We will be sending out a newsletter with all of the information, and if you could please share that with the board, that would be really appreciated. So first off, we have a Women's History Month roundtable discussion in Woodlawn, and that's this Sunday, the 26th. We will also have a Ramadan observance food distribution event on Tuesday, March 28th at Crawford Memorial United Methodist Church. After that, we will have a Woodlawn Community Easter egg hunt, as well as an Easter celebration in Co-op City. On April 11th, Tuesday, we will be doing a community baby shower honoring Black Maternal Health Week. And we do invite anyone who's interested in partnering to contact our office. That will be at the Dreiser Loop Community Center. We also encourage any expecting or new moms to come and attend the event. There will be a lot of resources and health giveaways, other activities that will be happening there. Finally, we do have an Earth Day community cleanup and beautification happening at Bissell Gardens, and that is on Saturday, the 22nd. And we'll include the information to sign up to volunteer. Thanks so much.
Okay, I see we have a representative from Assembly Member Zakhar's office.
Hi, yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ernala Bashiri, and I'm the Chief of Staff for the Assembly Member John Zaccaro. I just wanted to give you a few updates. The Assembly Member introduced a bill recently, Bill number 85730. In the Senate, this bill was passed and introduced and sponsored by Senator Bailey. In the Assembly, it's being introduced by the Assembly Member Zaccaro. Why the bill is important and what it is about. As we all know, on January 26, 2023, a fire broke out at 4055 Carpenter Avenue, where approximately 200 firefighters and other personnel rushed to the scene to fight the fire. There was injuries, there were firefighters, including firefighters who were injured, and many residents were displaced. The fire actually was spread. It was determined that the fire was spread due to the adjoining building. Residents had no idea that the fire was spreading. And because buildings before had the law that only required smoke detectors to be in individual apartments, this bill will be changing that. So this bill will actually make it a law where in common areas, smoke detectors will be placed to avoid issues like this. So that bill is being introduced. It has been introduced by the Assembly Member. We'll keep you updated on the voting and if it passes. We are sending out newsletters bi-weekly. So if you do want to be part of the newsletter, please do sign up. Send us an email at district80@nyassembly.gov. I'm sorry. We are hosting an event April 13th, shredding event in front of the office. We're also having an e-waste event coming up. We'll let you know about the dates pretty soon. And I think that is it on my part. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I do have a question really quick. The smoke detectors, are they hardwired or battery?
The language doesn't, we haven't gone into details, battery for now, but I don't think they have discussed that in the bill yet.
Yeah, because the maintenance of batteries, that can be an issue. Even people in their homes have a maintenance issue with batteries.
Okay, noted. I'll definitely take that back and we'll keep you posted on that. It hasn't been said in the language yet.
Okay, because hardwired is, it's on the generation is continuous versus battery. It has a life period, and depending on the type of battery, it can extinguish pretty rapidly.
Got it. Thank you, Earl, for
Okay.
making that point, and I'll keep you posted on it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, last call for elected officials. I think Kira's still in.
It's Kira. I'm sorry. It's Kira Gannon from the Borough President's Office. It's good to see all of you here. I introduced myself last month. I just have two quick things to mention. The Borough President is having a Greek Heritage celebration tomorrow on Kingsbridge Avenue. If you need any details, I can share it with you. Second, the Civic Engagement Commission is holding an Equity and Land Use Committee for an Equity and Land Use training for board members. I will share that information as well. The last one will be held on March 29th. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, so that, I believe that ends the elected official portion. Unless there's anyone else, please announce yourself. Old business?
Jeremy, can I just say something?
Yeah, Veronica.
Hi, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that Rabbi Fuchs wasn't available to give the transportation details. So I just want to really quickly say that the MTA gave a presentation on the White Plains Road subway line track renewal. And DOT gave two presentations, the White Plains Road Municipal Parking Lot reconfiguration, as well as the Eastchester Road Bike Lane Network expansion. I encourage anyone who's interested in those projects to please watch the video because it's very interesting. They also addressed some other concerns that we had. And the crime prevention officer, Tyrone Maderos, also gave a 49 precinct briefing. So that was the Public Safety and the Transportation Committee. Thank you.
Okay, old business. New business. Malcolm Gray?
Sorry about that. Just getting back to the OTI letter, I would really like to make a motion to, to send a letter to the OTI office, just asking them for like a moratorium or like an extension, so I can send a letter to them. So we get something going on that.
Yeah, I don't know if moratorium is the right word. I would ask for an extension.
Moratorium is the wrong word, but okay.
No, it's fine.
Second.
All right.
Wait, say again, Oral? I mean, just, can you say
No,
again?
the moratorium, you're right, Jeremy. Moratorium is not the correct language for it. Extension.
Yeah, it's an extension.
Yeah, so an extension to respond, like what? And, well, we'll just see what they say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so motion by Malcolm Gray.
Second.
This is regarding-
Second.
I
this is
agree.
This is regarding the 5G cell tower stuff, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know who seconded here.
Cynthia.
Sandy, Cynthia, either one. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Veronica?
it was a motion for a letter or email. Can we do a phone call? Because I think that would be, I think right now, a phone call would be more expeditious than actually sending a letter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but we probably should put a request in writing. An email.
Can
It
you
doesn't have to be a
note-
letter. We can send an email.
Send an email. You want to have something to say. Look what we did
We can do
yesterday.
both.
And can you know a community member's response to their letter, the one that I sent you on March 11th as well, as a reference?
Yeah, we can forward on anything that was sent to me, and I can send that on to the entire board too, Serena, if you want. Anybody else, they want me to
That's
share
fine.
a response? Okay, just whenever you email me, I mean, ideally, just email the entire staff, not just me, right? Because Harriet's very good about forwarding on stuff when she sees it, and so is Chris. So.
I believe I did, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Then you can share my letter
But
with
you didn't,
everybody.
I don't know if yeah, just specify at the very beginning, can you please forward this on to the entire board? That's all.
Okay.
Anything else? Discussion, Debbie Collick? I'll get it right one day.
I don't know if it's old business, new business, whatever business, definitely old. Also, it's in transportation
Well,
matter.
hold on. We finished voting? Motion is on the floor. So Hazel reminded me, the motion's on the floor. Anybody against or abstaining? To send a letter to ask OTI for an extension on the 5G cell, internet stuff? No? Okay. Unanimously passed, right? Okay, go ahead, Debbie.
Okay, again, I don't know if it's old business, new business, but it definitely is old business and it is transportation related. Something has to be done with DOT and painting the lines on Pelham Parkway. They keep on giving different answers depending on the season they want to answer. First, they'll look into it. Then they're like, oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's not this, it's not that. Now they're saying they can't paint on concrete. Exactly, that was their answer. They can't paint on concrete. The I-95, a good portion of it is concrete. There's lines on the I-95. Don't tell me you can't paint the yellow and the white lines.
State or city?
No, I need it on Pelham Parkway, which is city. But they're saying they can't paint on concrete because it's over the Amtrak area. No, they need to put the lines there, plain and simple.
Yeah, we'll follow up.
Yeah. This has been going on.
No, I know. You reminded me. I know it's definitely been an issue for a long time. You've definitely been pushing it.
I got emails going back
Yeah.
a good 10 years.
Yep,
A good 10 years.
yep. No, I understand. Okay. So, Miguel?
I just wanted to state that they didn't have any problem painting concrete when they when they changed the parking lot.
Thank you.
Okay, any other business? Motion. Burnett makes a motion to adjourn.
I
Second by Joe
second it.
Stasio. Okay, meeting officially ends what time? 10:08.
10:08.
Oh, just everybody, I don't know, the sound quality is much better with the recording company. If everybody's okay with it, please thank Mr. Moss here.
Yes.
Yeah. Not bad.
Very much.
We can't paint on concrete.
Video could be better.